And welcome to Hoopsville courtside at the Salem Civic Center. I'm Dave McHugh, joined by our good friend Bob Quillman and Pat Coleman from D3Hoops.com as we have just wrapped up the NABC All-Star Game, another thrilling game that was fun to watch. And, of course, we're getting ready for the championship game in Division III men's basketball. Tonight it is the Williams Eafs versus the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks. And, Bob, I think you kind of set up the question to me that we'll just start. Why don't you ask us what you said?
I think I said, how about Williams?
Yeah, how about Williams?
I mean, amazing performance last night. You knew coming into that game that Williams was going to be energized and ready to roll after losing 3 times this year to Amherst. But, boy, I sure didn't see it playing out like it did last night, and I don't think anyone did, Pat. That was quite a performance by Williams.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave and I were talking to Mike Maker a few minutes ago about, how would they changed their scheme up a little bit, how they went more zone than they had against Amherst in the past. They really went back and looked into some detailed numbers as to how Amherst had performed against them while Williams was running the zone in the past, and it worked really well for them last night.
Well, and he said that he didn't like going to zone. He's not a zone guy to begin with. He's more of a man-to-man defense guy, but he didn't like it because how well they pass and how much of a threat they are. And clearly decided to go with the numbers, as it were, and decided to analytically go after them. And when I think what happened was when they saw it working so well, he had backup plans. He just said, forget them.
Never had to go to the backup plan.
Yeah, didn't need to. And, what he had said was when they were playing zone, Amherst shot 40% against them. When they were playing man, Amherst shot 53% from the floor against them, and that was
well, in zone, no free throws.
And no free throws against the zone, that's right.
And with the zone, I think you put a lot of pressure on the other team, especially in a big stage like this, to make perimeter jump shots. You shut off those dribble penetration lanes to some degree, and with Toomey out there, I think it's a good gamble to say, okay, we're going to try to slow that down a little bit. We'll make you make jump shots. Amherst never made Williams pay.
No, you're right, didn't. And honestly, this is a page straight out of the book of last weekend. This is exactly what they did against Mary Washington with that 2-3. It's exactly what they did to Albertus Magnus in offense. They are methodical on offense, almost robotic, and not in a negative way. I just mean they know what they're going to do every moment they have the ball in their hands, and they execute terrifically. I mean, they're shooting well over 50% this tournament.
And for a team that started 2 freshmen and played 3 freshmen at times on Friday night, that's really impressive to have that kind of control, that kind of knowledge of your offense at this point.
You got a chance, Bob, to see them for the first time. You raved about Duncan Robinson. You raved about those other guys they've got on this team.
They're a machine. Offensively, when you watch them play, they have so many weapons. They're so deep. They're so good inside. They're so good outside. They're so good in the middle. I don't think there's any weakness to the Williams game, and I was just terribly impressed by everything they did.
On the flip side, Whitewater, not to bring up the result of your alma mater.
Sorry.
What happened to Illinois Wesleyan is the best way I can come up with.
Yeah, I think that there's a style of team that gives Illinois Wesleyan a lot of trouble, and that's the team with the athletic slasher, the Tyler Peters type at Wheaton, and KJ Evans is that kind of player that athletically Illinois Wesleyan has trouble matching up with. Titans had a lot of trouble bottling him up. And then on the offensive end, the Titans just shot the ball poorly, made some bad decisions, didn't play well for Illinois Wesleyan. So combination of Whitewater being awesome and Illinois Wesleyan just not being on their game, I'd say.
Whitewater defensively against Illinois Wesleyan. I mean, obviously you mentioned shot poorly. I think it was 5 for 23 was the number. What did you see out of the Warhawks?
Well, they really extended the Titans' offense. And so where Illinois Wesleyan's used to, starting their offense a little bit closer to the basket, you had some of the offense starting about 30 feet from the hoop. They denied some of those passing lanes to the wings, made it hard for Illinois Wesleyan to get the offense going. I think the Titans still got in its offense all the time, but the shot clock was in a little different place. The things were a little sped up, just out of sync for the Titans, and I think the credit all there goes to Whitewater.
And similar to how they must have watched the Dickinson tape is what I'm thinking, because there was that stretch near the end of the first half in the round of 8 game where, Illinois Wesleyan really didn't even get into its offense for stretches late in the first half.
I think it's one of those, you live by the 3, die by the 3 situations, is that Illinois Wesleyan is a team very comfortable with taking 3-point shots. I believe they led NCAA Division III in 3-point percentage or were near the top in the final week. In a game like this, in a stage like this, big stage, you're in Salem, sometimes it's hard to shoot 24-foot jump shots, right? The Titans kind of got sucked into being comfortable with that, and they got burned.
When you look at this Whitewater defense and what it did against the Titans, Then you saw what Williams does on its offense. What do you think Whitewater's going to have to do here to slow down that offense that's led by you pick a guy?
Well, similar. I think they're going to be physical, first of all. And the first thing I would question about Williams in this matchup, how will they respond to the physical play? Because Illinois Wesleyan can throw every bit as much physicality at Whitewater. I don't know if Williams does. I don't know if they're comfortable with that. They may be, but I need to see that. So first of all, they're going to be physical. I think they will also be they'll extend that defense like they did last night against Illinois Wesleyan. So they're going to make it hard for Williams to get into their offense, deny some passes to the wings. I think that's what you'll see to start the game.
When you look at the Whitewater offense against that 2-3 zone, that really, if anybody's not familiar, didn't see it, that 2-3 is extended. They're greeting guys out at the wing and just saying, go ahead, go inside. We got Mayer inside. We'll take your chances. Can Whitewater face up against that? They don't see a lot of that kind of defense.
I tell you, if as an Illinois Wesleyan fan, if I have one regret from last night in hindsight, it's that the Titans didn't play about 30 minutes of zone. They played 7 minutes of zone, and that was when they got in trouble. I think that the unique thing, Williams just played almost 40 minutes of zone.
They pretty much did.
They have a great zone. I would play that. I would come out of the gates against Whitewater and say, we are going to shut down KJ Evans in terms of one-on-one dribble drive, and we are going to make Whitewater make jump shots. I'm not sure if Whitewater can make enough jump shots to win the game if Williams plays that zone the whole time. I'm interested to see.
You bring up KJ Evans. What I found interesting about Evans was that was, in my opinion, a career night. I mean, that came jumping out of the pages. I looked at his numbers coming in. He's a good player, certainly. He's one of their top guys, but not a 30-point-a-night type of scenario. Was that just an admiration?
I think you could think of it as an aberration until you look at the last 3 games. He scored in the teens against Northwestern, but they didn't need him to. But then it was 22 in the second round, 25 in the round of 16, 27 in the round of 8, or some combination of those 3 numbers. So he's a guy who's clearly they didn't need him to score. When I talked to him Thursday afternoon at the news conferences, he said he didn't feel like he had to take more of the scoring burden on his shoulders, but he felt like he really wanted to and wanted to make sure that he made that part of his role this weekend too.
Well, he made tough shots too.
He did.
He not only got into the lane, which I think Illinois Wesleyan thought he'd be able to get into the lane. When he got into the lane, he was making tough shots over players, banking shots in, hit a 3, at least 1 3, just made all kinds of plays.
When you look at his dribble drive penetration, one thing I've seen interesting against Williams and other opponents is they are scared of being inside. It's Mike Mayer they're worried about. They're worried about the Duncan Robinson assist on the backside or coming down. They're worried about other guys. They don't like being in there. It seems daunting to them. And I was surprised. These are teams who usually play against big guys as well. Is that a kind of scenario that Whitewater's got to watch out for, that they got to maybe just take it to them and see what happens?
It's funny. I ran into Jack Bennett today at the team hotel. The former coach of Stevens Point, son is Nick Bennett, of course, assistant coach at Whitewater. And he said, we've got to get into them. And I said, well, what do you mean by that? Well, we've got to take the ball right to those big guys. We got to be physical with them. It was interesting to hear him talk, say we.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Is Stevens Point going to be down here in a minute to rescind his membership?
Ask. Wow.
But, Dave, that's a great point that you make, and that's exactly what Jack Bennett said, is that they have to go right at those big guys.
If there's a guy who knows how to combat that big zone that Williams plays, you got to look at Stevens Point. They played that big zone with Bennett and Calso down here in 2004, 2005.
Yeah, it's interesting that Bennett could win a ring, by the way, as an assistant coach after getting 2, because his name's up there with a different team. And, of course, if anyone knows, he actually got his first head coaching win this year when Pat Miller was sidelined against his former Pointers.
Nick Bennett's going to be a great Division III coach and a great college basketball coach someday.
He will.
I'm convinced
Absolutely.
of it.
Got to ask you, though, the temperature of the Titans after that. Once again getting to Salem, once again failing in the semifinals. What's the atmosphere? I mean, obviously the team is devastated, but, is this just another body blow?
The team is as devastated as I've seen after a loss here in Salem. The team felt like they could come here and win the national championship. Some of the past years maybe came here as an underdog. This year I thought that the team came here and said, we're going to get this done. They were as low as a group of kids could be, I'll tell you that. As far as the program, team's been here 6 times. I would say there's no apologies for losing close games in Salem.
Sure.
Just tough games, playing the likes of KJ Evans and Horace Jenkins and all those great players.
True.
The Tauntaun Bling of the Titans have always run into that player. that has just killed them. And from a fan's perspective, the program's in great shape. They have the most wins in NCAA Division III tournament history, and it was just a great year, but the team's down. Down.
We do make a lot of the fact that they've lost 5 semifinals, but nobody really keeps track of how many times a team loses in the Elite Eight or in the round of 16.
Right.
There's got to be some credit for getting here, especially coming out of that part of the country.
And you just got to keep knocking on that door, right? So you just keep getting here. For me, getting to Salem is always, that's what makes a special season. You know, I look at winning a CCIW championship, that's goal one. And then getting to Salem is the ultimate, wow, this was a big year. Then you get to Salem and you say, let's win this thing. From that standpoint, it was a phenomenal year. I can't really hold my head down, but the team, boy, it was hard to watch those guys last night because they had some guys not play very well, and they just are taking that very personally.
A few seconds to talk about the Titans for next year. Obviously, 6 seniors on this squad, right? So there's going to be a little bit of retooling.
There is, but I think the thing that most people don't realize is how many players they return.
Right. There are a lot. They did not start 5 seniors. That's true.
They return their point guard, Dylan Overstreet. They return their 2 guard, Pat Soto, and they return their 6-man, Jordan Nelson, who will be a great starter. They return their center, Mike Marietti, and then they have the JV program cranked up where they're going to pluck 2 or 3 kids and say, it's your turn.
Yeah.
I think the Titans will be right near the top of the CCIW next year, along with Augustana, Wheaton, the usuals.
Well, certainly Augustana. They return
everybody.
Yep.
From that. I mean, and I'm not saying there's a bench guy who's a senior who doesn't play. No, everybody comes off of that quickly. One thing that Pat and I noticed that we made note of right before the game started yesterday, 3 Pool C teams got here. Now, Illinois Wesleyan was certainly maybe the one upset in the sense of being a 1 seed in the tournament of the conference to get here. But 3 Pool C's shows you a lot of the depth here that we've had in men's basketball over the years now.
And Pool C's from, quote, I'm air quoting here, power conferences.
You can just do that.
Right.
It's okay. Don't hit me in the head.
Right.
Yeah, power conferences. You're right.
I don't think you even have to put the quotes around that. We're okay with
Absolutely.
the NESCAC and the CCIW and the WIAC being power conferences.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I mean, good statement that shows you what those second, maybe even sometimes the third place teams can do from those good leagues. Get here in Salem and win a national championship.
And I know we'll talk about this much more in the offseason. It seems like you only realized about a month ago that the WIAC comes into your region next year. I got to give you a little ribbon on that one, but it's what the women have been dealing with. But it changes the dynamic and changes the landscape just a little bit.
If you think about what a regional ranking looks like, WIAC 1, CCIW 1, WIAC 2, CCIW 2, Wash U somewhere up in that bracket.
Yeah.
I mean, the teams that are going to have a tough time, the MWC, the St. Norberts of the world, the Carrolls, the Lawrences, it's going to be tough to get regionally ranked in the Central region.
And I think you lose a spot despite the conference coming in because I know the Heartland goes out to the Great Lakes like it should be for all intents and purposes.
So 10 teams come out and 9 teams come in.
So I think there might be a loss of a regional team.
Here's what bothers me the most about that, and we could talk about this much more next year, but if the committee insists on continuing with the way things are set up right now and that you're really only going to get 2 teams in each region who are going to be allowed to host, here we go. Only one WIAC school and only one CCIW school could ever host in any year, and not Wash U and not anybody else. That's going to be a little bit messed up, and they're going to have to
revisit that.
They're going to have to reimagine how they do those sorts of things.
And the geography is going to have to maybe take a bigger step.
Yeah, I'm just really leery how this thing's going to play out because it seems like that's a lot of Division III power being thrown into one region. So I guess we'll leave that to next year's debates, but it's a fair topic, Dave, to bring up.
It's an interesting
and you're
one.
right. I knew about it at the beginning of this year when I read your stuff. It was when we started doing regional ranking talk this year that I was like, wait a minute, next year this is going to really suck.
Well, and interesting enough, it is a page of making sure all the regions are a little bit more even and kind of streamline things for the women. I can't tell you how many times I get confused on the East Coast as where teams are.
Well, and it will be called
region.
the Central instead.
It will be called the
Central.
Central.
You get to move up in the menu.
Alphabetical
Yeah,
order.
Exactly.
we'll move the alphabetical
You'll be farther
order.
up the menu.
So when you guys do your all region stuff, I'll
get to
C before I would M. Okay.
You get to go second.
Thanks,
exactly. He is Bob Quillman. He is Pat Coleman. Jeez, I almost called you Quillman just for the heck of it.
It works.
I'm Dave McHugh. This is the Hoopsville Courtside Show. If you have any questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, hashtag D3H. Email us, hoopsville at D3Hoops.com. Teams have come out to start warming up. We are 53 minutes away from the buzzer. I see Nick Bennett hanging out there. He is a stoic gentleman. Always has his arms crossed. I always find that interesting watching him on the bench as well. But both teams are warming up and getting ready for this game. We will lead you up to as close to the buzzer, if not the buzzer, as we can. We'll have coaches on the show as well and continue to break things down. Even talk All-Americans here on Hoopsville Courtside. You're listening to Hoopsville Courtside from the Salem Civic Center, brought to you by D3Hoops.com, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and, of course, the City of Salem. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, well, more talk about the championship game right here on Hoopsville.
And while Dave does the producer stuff and gets us out to commercial, I'll just remind you that this will also be your home for the audio broadcast of the championship game. The game is broadcast on CBS Sports Network. That's their cable channel. As far as we know, we've been told this many times so far today, again, it is not being video streamed. So we will have your national broadcast of the Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game. So you'll want to stick on the page throughout the rest of the afternoon as we get you through all that. We'll have our All-American announcements, and we'll have our post-game show and season wrap-up as well. And Dave's going to take us out to break here from the Salem Civic Center.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
And welcome back to Hoopsville here courtside at the Salem Civic Center. Alongside double-duty producer Dave McHugh, I'm Pat Coleman, and this is the part of the season that, for 408 teams, this is what's left. Postseason awards and the All-American team. And usually, I don't know, sometimes we start from the bottom and go on to the top. Sometimes we start from the top and go to the bottom.
Sometimes we start in the middle and just go wherever we want.
So third team forward.
Oh,
no.
Fascinating.
No, we will start at the top and go to the bottom. And you may already know who our player of the year is if you were watching our show on Thursday. And if you were not, then you'll find out in a few minutes. So we're going to start with the first teamers here on the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball All-Star Team as selected by D3Hoops.com. This is the 17th season that we've done an All-American team, and they start with the All-Region nominations from sports information directors and coaches across the country, which started back at the beginning of March. We named All-Region teams back on Sunday on Hoopsville, and then the full team was released on Monday, and now here is the exclusive first release of the D3Hoops.com All-Americans team, starting at the first team with a guard from Randolph, Wisconsin, a senior from Wisconsin Stevens Point, Tyler Tillema.
Yeah, not too bad a player. We got to see him in the All-Star game. Got to, led his team well as the #1 ranked team for much of the season. Unfortunately, falling short in the round of 16.
Also in the backcourt is a junior from Camden, New Jersey, from Cabrini. He's also a guard. He's Aaron Walton Moss.
Almost pencil him into next year's first team as well. He is one of those great players in Division III. He's one of those multifaceted players in Division III. Certainly missed out on an opportunity of a deep run. They'll see if they can reload for next year.
The third backcourt player is a senior from Greensboro, North Carolina, from Amherst College. It's Aaron Toomey. Those three guys are the Player of the Year candidates.
Absolutely. And Aaron Toomey didn't have his prototypical night against Williams last night. Certainly 3 points and 4 fouls, only made 1 shot. But he's one of those guys who matured throughout his career and got better and better, made his team better and better. How Amherst does in the future without him will be to to be determined, but he certainly led the Lord Jeffs well this year.
Our front court, both of them will be playing or have played here today. We'll start with the guy who you know will be playing here today. That's the center, Michael Mayer from Williams. He's a senior from Durham, North Carolina.
It's amazing to think that Michael Mayer improved more and more every year, picked up a little dribble drive this year. He doesn't look like a prototypical big man who could be unstoppable, but he finds ways to contribute, and this guy is one of those maybe quiet players to watch out for.
The final first-team spot goes to a senior from Newport, New York, and Hartwick College. It's Jared Sutterly, a forward.
Yeah, another guy who doesn't maybe get on everybody's radars, but if you watch him play, and the All-Star game was fun to watch him play, he's very talented, got a lot of skills, and certainly helped Hartwick to get another league title.
I am not going to make Dave analyze every single player because he hasn't seen this list up until about 30 seconds ago. I don't know if he's scanning ahead or what, I'm going to make you analyze each of these second teamers.
All right, that's fine with me.
We're going to start with a lot of guys who played here today or could have played here this weekend. We'll start with a guy who's played here before.
Yeah.
In Virginia Wesleyan's senior guard from Virginia Beach, Virginia, that's DJ Woodmore.
DJ Woodmore is one of those guys who makes his team better by doing the small things and being everywhere on the floor. He can jump out of a gym even though he doesn't look like he could. He can score from all points, but he makes his team better, and that includes what he does off the court as well. He's a terrific honoree.
He's a guy who's been a star since he stepped onto campus.
Yeah, and by the way, very well spoken, but very low-key about himself. He's very much a team player.
We go on with the rest of the backcourt. A senior from Rochester, New York, whose senior season ended a bit prematurely, but he had a great year nonetheless. That's John Ivey from Brockport.
If he's not injured, Brockport is probably ones that people think can get to Salem. He is just that good, and that missed by the Brockport team that lost in triple overtime. Ivey, one of those players that was fun to watch online. I wish I had a chance to see him in person.
Yeah, fantastic season he had for the Golden Eagles this year. We'll move on into the front court where we have a senior from Cincinnati, Ohio. He plays for Emory University, Jake Davis.
I'm going to call him Jake Big Shot Davis. I mean, this guy hit some big shots this season, including the one that ended Stevens Point's season this year. Emory had a good season despite what their record indicated. Played in the UAA, which is always tough. They didn't get some things done that they wanted, but Jake Davis was almost automatic. He'd always show up and always have a good game.
The rest of the front court for the second team, D3Hoops.com All-American. We go with a senior from Oswego, Illinois. Played for Illinois Wesleyan forward Andrew Zimnick.
Yeah, Andrew Zimnick, one of those players, again, kind of like Michael Mayer. Maybe you look at him at first like, oh, okay, he's a forward.
Or
not going to do much. Tight end,
I know, so that's been said several times in the last 2 weeks.
But he ends up doing some great little things that make him so dangerous as a player. Enjoyed watching Zimnick play, including last night.
Another guy who's here in the building is a senior. Plays for Augsburg College. He's from Little Falls, Minnesota. Center Dan Kornbaum.
Maybe one of the best players Augsburg's had since Devin George came along, arguably. Not a guy who maybe jumps out at you because of Augsburg's season, but he's a really good player that made Augsburg certainly better and made them a little bit of a factor in their own conference this year.
That wraps up the second team, D3Hoops.com All-American. We will move on to the third team. We'll start in the backcourt with a pair of players.
First of all, these if you want.
Okay. All right.
Just do the quick
all
scan.
These guys? Yeah. So we got a junior from Bowling Green, Ohio, played for Worcester guard Xavier Brown.
He was fun to watch out here in the
That's not the junior. This is not.
Oh, that's junior.
Yeah,
yes, I got screwed.
This is the other guy, and I'd be
right.
willing to talk about that in a second.
But he was good too. But sorry, I had two different guys in my head. Xavier Brown, though, I mean, Worcester had a lot of talented people this year that made them dangerous, and certainly as a top 25 voter, he was one of the guys I always was curious how he was doing. He was definitely the leader on the squad, except for the senior who played tonight was pretty darn good, too.
Yeah, Doug Thorpe is pretty good, too. And Doug Thorpe and Xavier Brown have very similar offensive numbers.
Yes.
But people who I talked to said Xavier Brown, much better defensive player, and that's why he's on this list. Also in the backcourt is a senior from Medina, Ohio, plays for Wheaton, Illinois, played for Wheaton, Illinois, a guard, Tyler Peters.
He was, I mean, if you talk to anybody in the CCIW, he was the guy everybody talked about.
Right.
Yes, Illinois Wesleyan had great talent across the board, and Zimnick and all them, but Tyler Peters did amazing things for this Thunder squad and probably brought them back from a little bit of a rough start to this season. He was the cog to that wheel and terrific player for Wheaton.
He was the most outstanding player in the CCIW this year. In the front court, we go with a senior from Houston, Texas, played for UT Dallas, a forward named Kyle Schley.
He may have been the undersung player of you hear his name a lot, you see his numbers, don't quite understand. he had coaches talking during the All-Star game. Just the way he plays, and he can
not
shoot.
just about the air ball. In the
No. And actually, that got some chuckles and a couple cat calls from the
did.
coaches wondering where he had that for the rest
Terry
of the
Butterfield
season.
gave him a little bit of a hard time.
I
when
think
he came
Terry
over.
decided to disown him after that shot.
I'm not sure.
But he is
might want him back now.
He might want him back, unfortunately. He's terrific, can play inside out, and he's quick first step.
Also in the front court on the third team, D3Hoops.com All-American, we have a senior from Norwich, New York. He played for Hobart. His name is Richie Bonney.
Yeah, Jostens Award winner as well. And, of course, if you're going to play for a team who's got a good coach for your abilities, Bonney had the advantage of playing for Mike Neer, and you could see the influences Mike Neer had on Bonney. He came, I don't want to say from nowhere, but he certainly improved leaps and bounds every year. I think this year Bonney maybe had a better season than people appreciated, and of course for his team certainly did wonders. You almost kind of wish they'd gotten past round number 2.
Great story about Mike Neer. Well, I guess it's partially about Jay Wright, the Villanova coach, but mostly about Mike Neer in the New York Times today. If you're following D3 Hoops on Twitter, I just retweeted that link out so you can read that. Read what the effect Mike Neer had on the coaching career of Jay Wright, because that's a pretty impressive read. And we finish off the D3Hoops.com third team All-American for 2014 with a senior from Sayreville, New Jersey. He played for Wesley center David Langan.
I was talking to somebody who's on the committee to get the All-Stars here, and he's in the Mid-Atlantic region, and basically everybody he talked to about who should we select, they said, well, you're going to pick Langan, right? Who's your other pick?
Yeah.
He's an automatic pick from the Mid-Atlantic region. He, again, unassuming player. You're like, okay, at one point today I was watching, he's not used to doing all these wind sprints. But he can hit from outside. He helped Wesley, and I think he got better after they lost their best player because the inside opened up for him, and he made it his home. Langan was very good this season. It's too bad we only got to really see that from him this year.
How do you feel about that fourth team? You got something on each of those guys?
No.
So the D3 Hoops.
I got about half of them.
The D3Hoops.com fourth team All-American. I'll read all 5 names and then you can comment on what you got, and
Perfect.
I might talk about the rest.
Perfect.
So we start with a senior from Harlem, New York. He played for SUNY Purchase. That's guard Andre Nixon. Joined in the backcourt by a senior for Wisconsin Stevens Point from New London, Wisconsin. That's Trevor Haas. Also in the backcourt, a senior from New Britain, Connecticut. Played for Albertus Magnus, Darius Watson. The front court on the D3Hoops.com fourth team All-American starts with a freshman, Duncan Robinson from Newcastle, New Hampshire, and he's joined by Malcolm Hurd II, a senior from Wilmington, Ohio, who played for Wilmington in Ohio.
Let me tackle a couple of these guys. Trevor Haas from Stevens Point. If it wasn't Tillema, it was Haas. We saw him at the D3Hoops.com Classic. There was one game in particular. Tillema was against Whitman. Wasn't having a great game in foul trouble. Haas carried that team. He maybe doesn't get the appreciation that many can understand from there. Darius Watson, really good player, got stymied by Williams' defense. It was fun to see him have a different opportunity this year. And then Duncan at the All-Star game, and then Duncan Robinson. I mean, there are no words to describe how good he is as a freshman. I described him last week calling games that he's really a junior in skill level. This Williams squad loses Mayer, but man, you got a guy like Duncan Robinson coming up, and it's only going to continue to get better. That is a scary Eve squad for the future.
Duncan Robinson is a guy who played his way onto the All-American team, not just last night, but throughout the course of the tournament.
Yes.
I don't know how he was only second team All-NESCAC.
It's kind of interesting he was only second team All-NESCAC, and also how, there was a great, I'm forgetting his name, the freshman from Babson who was pretty darn good.
Yeah, Joey Flannery.
Maybe it's apples and oranges, but Robinson, his game just continued to improve. 28 points last night in the championship game.
30.
30, correct. And Amherst had no way of stopping him, and they've seen him already this year.
The honorable mention, D3Hoops.com All-Americans. We choose just 5. 5. That's 5. And you can consider yourself an All-American. Don't think that honorable mention is
absolutely
this
not.
big long list of 40 names or 100 names. It's just as legit as all the others. We start in the backcourt with a senior from Chappaqua, New York. He played for Dickinson. His name is Adam Honig. Also in the backcourt, a senior from Indianapolis, Indiana. For Rose Holman, that was Julian Strickland. Another guard in the backcourt from Kiel, Wisconsin, a senior for St. Norbert. That's Brandon Grease. A fourth guard who played his way onto the team over the course of the last 4 games. Junior from Beloit, Wisconsin, for Wisconsin Whitewater, KJ Evans, and the forward on this team is from Wash U, a senior from Inverness, Illinois, Chris Klimek.
When you talk about Adam Honig from Dickinson, and we'll have their coach on here shortly as well.
I just told him 2 minutes.
Oh, very good. Him alone would have people worried about playing Dickinson in the Mid-Atlantic, because he also got his players involved. There are times, I think I even saw the team where he barely played due to injury, and the team would excel because he's still coaching on the sideline. Adam Honig, terrific player. Julian Strickland, I think, has been underappreciated and not understood very well at Rose-Hulman. He has been terrific. You look at his numbers over the last couple of years, Strickland has been steadily improving and steadily good for Rose-Hulman. Their success can be tied to Strickland. Brandon Greaves, great watching him in the All-Star game, and even had a couple coaches going, wow, he is good. Great to see St. Norbert get some honors there. KJ Evans, you're correct. I mean, this is a guy who, you look at his normal overall numbers, they don't jump out at you, but what he has done in the NCAA tournament and what he did last night is certainly impressive. Then Chris Klimick from WashU. You already know a WashU guy is going to be well coached. He's really stood out from his team, and I think a team that maybe was kind of on the edge of whether they were really, really good or just really good. Well, losing him is going to be a bit of a blow here for the Bears, who may not be as good next year.
Last word on Evans, 26 points per game in his last 4. I just did the math in my head. Hopefully that's correct. I believe that's 104 divided by 4. And 3 more pieces of business. First of all, you probably could figure out from the list that the Rookie of the Year for D3Hoops.com this year is Duncan Robinson. He's the only freshman on the team. You could probably figure that out. Player of the Year, Aaron Toomey. I don't really care what he did last night. Obviously, Amherst cares what he did last night. He very disappointing last night, but the other 30 games outweigh that.
And the 115 games he played in his career.
And to be honest with you, if you look at the other 2 guys, Tillema's team didn't get this far. Walton Moss's team didn't get out of the first weekend.
No, and I was going to say, if those guys move on, if we have a Toomey versus a Walton Moss game, if we have a Toomey versus Tillema game, then it's an up for
Then we
debate
have to have the discussion. Yes.
Yeah, we have to have the discussion. But and by the way, I will say, and maybe people realize, Toomey, I had some problems with how Toomey played back in his sophomore year and even into his junior.
I hadn't heard. Is
how
that
much
true?
he improved and how much he took on what Coach Hickson would tell him and how much he then altered his game. Very impressive. It's too bad he only hit 1 shot last night. It's too bad he didn't have the night that he really probably would have wanted here.
Not the way to go out.
But he does have a championship ring from last year. He got to play in Atlanta. Aaron Toomey had a heck of a career for Amherst.
He certainly did. So that is the D3Hoops.com 2014 men's basketball All-American team. We will release the women's basketball team later this evening, and we're holding on to one award. We're holding on to that Coach of the Year award just to see what happens.
Yeah.
That could be something that goes on here a little bit later this evening that could determine that. As we get you ready for our national championship game between the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater and Williams College, the Warhawks versus the East game tips off at 5:36 p.m. Eastern. We'll have the live audio coverage of it for you all the way through till the end of the night when Walnut and Bronze is handed out and they cut nets and all the great things that happen here at the end of the 2014 Division III men's basketball season. For Dave McHugh, I'm Pat Coleman. As we'll bring you, we'll take a break. We'll come back with more Hoopsville Courtside in just a moment. Don't forget, Hoopsville is presented by D3Hoops.com and the National Association of Basketball Coaches. You can contact us on Twitter at D3Hoopsville, or use the Hoopsville hashtag, or use the D3H hashtag. All of those things will eventually reach us, or I think you'll probably even email Dave at Hoopsville at D3Hoops.com, or text him at 410. No, I'm just kidding. I would not give out his cell phone number over the air.
We've got
we'll be back in a minute
schools
from
in
Salem.
Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
And welcome back to Hoopsville courtside from the Salem Civic Center as we're getting ready for the championship game in Division III men's basketball. The University of Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks trying to win their second title in 3 years, and Williams, I'll try and speak, trying to win its first title and second overall since 2003. I'm joined by Todd McGinnis, head coach from Hartwick, and Alan Soretti, head coach from Dickinson. I'm sure your fans are having a little trouble with you and I being so close right now. First and foremost, let me congratulate you guys with the All-Americans. First team for your forward and Jared Sutterly, and of course, honorable mention for Adam Honig, your guard. First, love to get your reactions on that.
Oh, it's a great honor. I was looking on the sheet. I said third, fourth. I don't see him, and Al poured out first. I said, oh, that's great. Jared had a great career. He's the all-time leading scorer in Hartwick history. He's the all-time leading rebounder in Hartwick history. So 3 out of 4 years in the NCAA tournament. So it's been a pretty great run for him. I forget how good he is at times. You see him out there, and there's a knack for getting rebounds like he did today in the All-Star game. And a great career, a great career, and great honor. I thank you guys for that.
I was wondering, is it easy coaching from the sideline?
It was funny. I yelled. I was trying to get a picture of him. I yelled, Jared, and he could hear my voice, and he looked at me and just waved at me. And he had a great year. He played with a torn labrum on his non-shooting shoulder, so he's having surgery on Monday. So, he wanted to be able to come down here. So it was it's a great honor. Yeah, it's a great player, great honor.
He waved you off like he did in games all year.
All the time, right. All the time.
Adam Honig, guard. I mean, I said on the just a few minutes ago, was a guy, when you talk about Dickinson, everyone went, Honig. Even injured or not playing well or on the bench, he was a dangerous weapon because he's coaching alongside you.
Yeah, he was tremendous. His leadership ability really grew from his time as a freshman on. And most people didn't know he was a 16-year-old high school senior. So he really grew up on our campus and with our program. And to make the honorable mention team, obviously you guys do your homework. So the amount of time and effort that went in there to have him be recognized really out of nowhere, because I know people knew he was good coming into the year. But to go down and get 30 at Catholic, 27 at Macon, and then carry us, really he and Jerry carry us through the tournament is a great testament to the work he put in, and obviously really thrilled with the honor for him.
I think he's done with you, though, after that 14-hour bus trip back and forth from Illinois Wesleyan. You guys and I had a chance to quickly talk about this upcoming game. You guys had some fascinating points, and I wanted to get to them about Whitewater and about Williams. Obviously, maybe your first chances to really see these teams, but you guys have also seen the teams that they have faced to get here in some senses. Your take on this Whitewater team, you played Illinois Wesleyan, who they beat. And of course, coming into that game last night, what do you get on a take for the Warhawks?
Well, I mean, we knew on that side of the bracket it was more of a more physicality.
Mm-hmm.
They're certainly
than you see.
Yeah, very, very skilled, obviously, very good players, but also very physical, very athletic, very long at most positions. And Illinois Wesleyan, the one thing that we found when we played them was your space is gone. I mean, they're so thick physically. They're not long, but they're super thick. And last night, they looked underwhelming physically, which tells you all you need to know about Whitewater. So I think it's a great comparison tonight and a great contrast between the strength, the physicality, the toughness of Whitewater, and then the skill and space of Williams. I mean, as we mentioned in that discussion, they put on a clinic last night in the second half offensively. And if they can space the floor like that, and they can, if the game is played their way, then they've got a great opportunity.
On the flip side, you have a little bit of influence, obviously, in seeing these Williams-Amherst type teams. What did you take from last night, and what do you think is going to be the focal point tonight?
Like we were talking about earlier with Williams beating Albertus Magnus, who's physically quicker, stronger than them, and they just carved them up. And I think that's what tonight's game might be like a little bit. It will be interesting to see if they can get by Whitewater's guys. Can they use their moxie, their ability to get back cuts, to get them spaced out, to get guys running at them and driving it by. And if they can't, then they're going to have a long game. But if they did it against Albertus Magnus, and you were there, and they put up 110 against them. And I thought Albertus Magnus was a really good defensive team. I saw that score the next day, and I go, oh my gosh, Williams must be rolling a little bit. And last night they're really impressive. Probably one of the better performances that I've seen in Salem. And it'll be interesting. It's going to be, like Al said, battle of two different teams here. A strong physical team go versus a great offensive team. And can Whitewater deal with the 2-3 zone? I'm sure they're going to see a lot of that today, too.
Yeah. When you look at that Albertus Magnus game, Williams shooting late in the first half, 71% from the floor. It was a little on the ridiculous side. Let me put you in Coach Mike Maker's shoes, for lack of a better description, in his head, on his game board. How do you approach Whitewater from what you saw last night? Do you change anything, or are you going to go with what's working?
I think offensively, you're going to stick with the game plan. I'm sure they're going to hit a lot of high post, back cuts, looking for back cuts, handoffs, and seeing if they can get them overplaying and see if they can get by them. It was interesting watching Whitewater last night. They guard you one-on-one. They don't really help that much, and you have to be able to get by guys. And I think Williams will be able to, instead of driving by guys, they might be able to pass by guys. And I think he's going to play a lot of zone. I'm sure he watched the 3-2 zone from Illinois Wesleyan last night that gave Whitewater problems there at the end when Illinois Wesleyan came back. And so I'm sure he's going to probably play zone and say if they're going to make jump shots, they're going to beat us. And we got to keep them off the glass somehow. I think that was the most impressive thing about last night is how good of a rebounding team Whitewater is right now.
And quickly, how hard is it to prepare for a team, especially on technically 24-hour notice? I mean, they've looked at the tape, obviously, but that does a lot of backdoor cuts and a lot of curl routes.
It's not easy. We've played teams in our league that have done that, and you just got to try to pick your battle, what you're going to guard. And honestly, I looked at Al yesterday during the game, and I said, well, Williams is going to play all zone tomorrow because Williams is going to play zone, but Whitewater is going to either have to pressure, like you were saying about Magnus, is 27 feet away pressuring, but I think you almost need to either decide you're going to lay off him or you got to switch everything. I think it's not easy. The guard data is not easy. Coach Maker was calling this yesterday, and I think he called football once. Yeah, I'm over there laughing. I'm like, oh my God, he just called 8 different plays one time down the floor. So,
and I think that's the biggest thing about Williams is you can't take it all away. Yeah. So they're a great shooting team from 4 positions, but if they make 15 threes, it's 45 points. That's still not going to be enough. So you almost have to give into that a little bit, maybe zone them back, maybe lay off of them in space, play from 22 feet and in. Don't let them get an offensive rebound. Don't let them back cut you, and they're going to have to make 23s to beat you. But if you try to guard it all, you're in deep trouble.
Let me flip it around. Now you're in Coach Miller's head. Well, how do you prepare, as you were starting to talk about, and what do you do on offense and defense maybe tonight?
I mean, first off, you are who you are. I mean, you prepared for this game in October. I mean,
sure.
That's what you do all the preparations for because you can't do a 24-hour prep. Having said that, I think what Whitewater is going to do is play to their strengths. They're going to play inside, and they're going to have to go after the post guys for Williams. Williams is not tremendously deep in the post. Even out of the zone, they've got big physical kids that can attack the rim. So if they put Williams in foul trouble early, I think that changes a lot of things. I think offensively they can also, if Williams is going to man up, I think they can spread Williams a little bit and have some advantages off the bounce. They can create some opportunities. And then the flip side of that is I think physically, we talked about it earlier, I think Whitewater is going to have an advantage. So you may want to guard 22 feet in and almost like Todd mentioned, like they did last night, play them straight up. If Michael Greenman wants to go off the bounce and get 25 tonight, then they're going to beat you anyway. But you can't let them turn into a penetrate and kick team because when they start making extra passes, again, it looks like we're watching a clinic.
Yeah.
And you got to make them beat you one-on-one and make them finish. And again, if Williams can do that for 40, you're going to lose anyway.
Let me flip this around. This is kind of a question that seems like an old doll, but I'm kind of curious. Officiating is always a key because you need to know how they're going to call a game. It's going to be tight. Is it not going to be tight? Is it going to be consistent? Is it not consistent? You go in with your mentality. At what point in the game do you realize we need to adjust? Or the refs might start adjusting to us. There's a fine line there. Albertus Magnus lost that battle badly. Yep. They insisted that they were going to be a certain way, and the refs wouldn't allow it. There's got to be a fine line somewhere. How do you approach that?
No question. If you have an upper-class team who's been around, they may be able to adjust as the game is going on. They may have a feel for how the game's called and be able to make those adjustments. If you don't trust your team to make those adjustments, you may come out and may go zone first dead ball. Just let 3 or 4 minutes pass and let them get the calls against them that are setting the tone for the day. And then you can go back and play the way you want to play 14 minutes and down. But if you come out and try to establish a tempo and a physicality, if you're Whitewater, and they get you for 2 hands on the body 3 or 4 times quick, Williams is in the catbird seat at that point. You're in trouble. And so, again, very good point, especially with the way the game was supposed to be called this year.
Yes.
When we started out, we're shooting 80 free throws a game. we played up at Illinois Wesleyan, we should have brought our helmets. I mean, you just and it was fair. It was very
consistent.
fair. Yes, very. But they're going to let you battle, and it's a national title game. My assumption is they're going to let you play, but we'll see.
On that flip side, how you kind of talked about the upperclassmen can maybe make the adjustments. I don't want to sound, it's going to sound a little crash, but are the players smart enough in the heat of the moment on the court to realize what's really being called and make that adjustment, or are you going to have to do a zone or a timeout to go, guys?
I think at this point of the year, they're smart enough. They're going to know, okay, are we going to call it like we did at the beginning of the year, or are we going to call it like we saw last night where it's pretty physical? And I think Williams has the advantage if they're going to play zone, then they won't be fouling as much. Or is Whitewater going to get called for the hand checks? Is Whitewater going to get called for the bumps? Because I thought a few times last night their point guard from Whitewater, number 3, I'm sorry, I don't know his name, he was riding the guy up the floor a little bit, and they didn't call that. In the beginning of the year, that would have been automatic. And so I was surprised. I said, I think that's a foul. And I think both coaches are pretty animated towards the refs at times, so I'm sure it's going to be to see the battle of wills, to see what way it's going to be called. If it's called physically, where they let them play a little bit, then I think it benefits Whitewater. If it's called tight, then I think it benefits Williams for sure.
And the interesting part about that is if it's not called tight, so if they allow you to hand check and Whitewater wants to pick up full and turn, I think that also plays into Williams' advantage in how they want to play. They want to play with space. They want you to come get them because they're going to cut you to death. So if it is allowed to be physical early, Williams might say, okay, a little tougher with our one-on-one battles, but we're going to spread you out, and hopefully they come get us. If they come get them, again, last night was a clinic.
Now, of course, all the refs, by the way, don't come from the same region. This crew doesn't work together or from the same area. They're from around the country, so that can be a little bit of a different scenario.
I was just peeking out there.
I
know one of the guys.
Do you know one of them? Okay, so
we
got
too.
one.
We did too.
We got one who's probably East Region. We got the name somewhere around here as Pat's trying to fish them out.
Yeah, I know. I looked at one of them.
Yeah, there we go. There they are. We'll let the guys take a quick look and see if they actually.
Oh, he's not who I know. I
don't
know that.
we had one of the guys in our tournament run, and I think the one thing you're going to look for, because they don't normally work together, someone on that crew, just like in a team, is going to be the alpha male, and he's going to take over early. And if those guys jump in and want to be recognized as officials, now we're going to have a whistle every 5 seconds. If they allow him to be the alpha male, now that guy's going to control the game. So it's going to be interesting to watch.
It was interesting last night. The one older guy went down early, and they had to put the sub in. Did you even notice that? Yeah, he went down, the older guy, like 2 minutes into the game, and next thing you know, there's a new ref out there. I said, what the heck's going on here?
They did it actually pretty nicely and nice and quick.
Yeah.
Before I let you guys go, I don't know how many times you guys have been to Salem. I think I've seen you guys here a handful of times.
My first.
First time?
First as well.
What do you take from this experience then? Do you guys watch these games and are sitting there going, okay, that's something I'm adding next year? I mean, how do you guys approach this experience for yourselves?
My first thing was I said, I need to get a big guy. After seeing these guys, I said, my guys are very first-team All-American, and we play him at center, and he's not ready to play center against these guys. I said, his parents were here, and they said, what do you think? I said, well, their first 2 teams, I don't think we could play with those teams right now, but I said, I think the other 2 teams, it's free-flowing. We might be able to play with them, but taken away, it's just a great experience. I know my guy that played in the All-Star game had a great time. I guess you just don't realize how good these guys are. I think that's the main thing is until you're here, until people experience it in person, you realize how talented, how skilled these guys are, and I can take it back to my guys. Well, this is what we need to do to get better. We need to get stronger. We need to start looking like the guys from Whitewater in the weight room. Like those are some big guys.
Yeah, they got a little influence, I think, from their football program. Alan?
No, same thing. I think you realize, one, for the first half of last night, I was sick to my stomach having lost to Illinois Wesleyan and been 20 minutes away from being here and playing in the game. But I think you also recognize we've seen a lot of these guys through the recruiting trail and through AAU and whatnot, and you realize how good they were at the high school level and at the AAU level. Almost all of these guys were coming out with scholarship opportunities. They were guys where you would call and say, like, I'll call him, but we're not going to have a chance to get this guy. And to see them all playing here, and some of them slipping into roles where they're role players, you wish high school players and you wish folks in your area could see this and see, obviously, the attention that it garners and what you guys do, but also the ability level and the size of these teams. Because that's, as a Division III coach, we oftentimes, the level of play is misunderstood. And you watched Duncan Robinson play last night as a freshman. I'd like to see a few more kids at that level coming out of high school that are,
levels within levels. That's what I say about Division III at times.
I've said it before. The top tier of Division III, the top 25. I'll take them up against some D1 guys, and I bet you'd be surprised with the results.
If Robinson was in a different NCAA tournament last night playing for someone else, you wouldn't have been shocked the way he played.
Absolutely not.
He was great.
Absolutely. Well, we're rolling up to pregame here and getting ready for the championship game. I want to thank Tom McGinnis from
Thank
Hardwick
you very much.
and Alan Soretti from Dickinson for joining us here. Great insight on what these two teams may be facing or doing coming up here in the championship game. We're going to take a break. We'll wrap things up here and then get back to broadcasting the game audio only for you guys who can't see the game on CBS Sports Network. I'm Dave McHugh. We'll be back. If you have any questions for us, tweet us at D3Hoopsville, hashtag Hoopsville, D3H, email us at hoopsville@d3hoops.com. And of course, thanks to D3Hoops.com, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, and of course the City of Salem for their help on Hoopsville Courtside. More Hoopsville Courtside when we come back.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to the ad hoc produced version of Hoopsville Courtside. I'm Dave McHugh. Rejoined by Bob Coleman, our good friend from Illinois Wesley, and of course now Dallas, Texas. Really feel bad for you, Bob. Really do. We're wrapping up our broadcast here at Hoopsville Courtside. About 5 minutes left until we're going to go off the air. I'll repeat this at the end of this too. We're going to go off the air, but the stream will still be live, so don't leave your page. Just got to move some gear over to the other side to get ready to call the game for you. Pat Coleman and myself. Bob will join us at postgame and halftime as well. The game is on CBS Sports Network. It is not streamed, to the best of our knowledge, and everything we have been told, so we're providing you an audio-only broadcast. Just stick with your page. Don't freak out. The stream will come back momentarily. Got a little bit of insight from Todd McGinnis from Hardwick and Alan Soretti from Dickinson. Great idea of breaking things down. I want to ask you a little bit about the atmosphere of this game. As much as these teams have been here, as much as Whitewater's won a championship 2 years ago, Williams, of course, nobody here has won a championship, but they're familiar with it. The atmosphere still takes on a different aura tonight. This is different than last night. Now you got the big lights of CBS Sportsnet. The TV timeouts may be slightly longer. I'm not 100% sure compared to last night. Certainly longer than they were in the regular season. How do you tame the butterflies? I mean, how do you think these guys are going to approach this game?
I think every round you go deeper in the NCAA tournament, it gets different.
Yeah.
And that's from round 1 to 2 and from round 5 to 6.
Yeah.
As far as butterflies, I think it's a matter of settling into the first couple minutes of the basketball game, right? That's when you see the butterflies. In those first couple minutes, see a couple errant jump shots. You might see a turnover. I think guys just have to settle in and focus on executing their X's and O's. All the things, and that's what the coaches try to do, right, is they try to get them to focus in those first few minutes on very specific tactical things. Guys that focus on that probably start to forget a little bit about those bright lights. And the fact that this is really just another basketball game, there's just a lot on the line here.
Is it almost like a football game where you go in with scripted plays? We're doing this, doesn't matter what the scenario is, because we just want to at least get our stuff down?
Possibly. I would guess that these two coaches probably know, but I think that that's always a possibility in a game like this where you call a couple of your most successful plays in the early going. I think these teams are more free-flowing.
Yeah,
I think
agree
these
with you.
coaches trust their players to do the right thing. I think you'll see these teams just hit the hardwood and go out and play.
It's interesting, as you mentioned, the powerhouses have got the all, the at-large bids got all the way here, worked their way through it. We've talked about in the past that sometimes there's always a team here who seem to have somebody lay down in front of them. Yes, each one of the teams who got here had somebody we wanted to see them play. For Illinois Wesleyan, Wash U, or Wheaton, or somebody of that like. For Whitewater, Stevens Point, of course. For Williams, we didn't get to see them go up against Virginia Wesleyan or
Right.
Randolph-Macon. You didn't get to see Amherst go up against Cabrini, for example. That being said, they all had somebody to go through, and all had tests. Do you think they're really tapping into those games now?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you can only play who's on the bracket, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And both of these teams have faced a really difficult road. I mean, both teams are battle tested. You can't get to this game without being battle tested. So yeah, you're leaning now on games that were played in rounds 2, 3, 4, and last night when you're getting ready for this one. Absolutely.
A couple quick questions about the game. Williams is deep. Whitewater maybe not as deep. Does that benefit Williams?
I say no only because with the media timeouts and the length of the timeouts,
sure,
it's not a factor from the standpoint of guys being gassed. It's only standpoint if there's foul trouble.
Sure.
When you get to this stage, I don't think you have to be deep to win the game.
When you look at Williams is methodical on offense, Whitewater will probably pressure them. How important is it that Williams needs to execute?
Very, because if they start to get down a little bit, it might become tough to come back against a team like Wisconsin-Whitewater, and they're always coming right at you, all that dribble drive. Williams needs to execute early and get a little bit of a lead, get a little bit of momentum going. I think Whitewater's the kind of team, you start getting down to them 4 or 6 points, all of a sudden it's 15 like Illinois Wesleyan found. That's why Williams needs to come out strong.
If Williams comes out in that 2-3 or some variation of that, as much as Whitewater has seen it on tape, they haven't really seen it. How important is that adjustment going to be early in this game?
I think Whitewater probably spent most of the last few hours, right, this morning, the walkthrough, talking about the Williams zone. So that becomes the story of the game to me, is how does Whitewater attack the zone? And to your point, you can say, okay, they're going to play a 2-3 zone, and this is what a 2-3 zone looks like. But until you play the Williams zone or the whatever team you're playing zone, you're really not totally prepared for it.
Sure. Putting you on the spot, if you were to pick a team, who would it be?
Williams.
I probably would lean that way as well, but it's honestly, it's been a coin flip
a
all.
coin.
Yeah, exactly.
Flip a coin.
Again, we are going to stop the stream, not technically, just stop the broadcast side of the stream. Will continue on our broadcast partners' YouTube. Don't fret, we will be back as quickly as we can with the audio call. Pat Coleman and myself on the call. Bob Quillman will join us for halftime and post-game as well. Want to thank everybody who helped Portside Hoopsville be a success. At D3Hoops.com, the National Association of Basketball Coaches, the City of Salem, and of course the ODAC as well. Thank you for tuning in. We'll be back at halftime and postgame with Hoopsville, and of course the broadcast here in a matter of minutes. Thanks for tuning in. For Bob Quillman, for Pat Coleman, and myself, we'll see you on the other side as we get ready to crown another champion and a new champion. The color will be purple. It's either the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks or the Williams Eves. Coming up in a few minutes.
And hello and welcome to the Salem Civic Center, home of the Division III Men's Basketball Championship here in 2014. And we have a battle of the University of Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks and the Eves of Williams College. Alongside Dave McHugh, I'm Pat Coleman here outside at the Salem Civic Center for, this is, I don't know, my 17,000th Division III Men's Basketball Championship game. I don't know how many you and I have called together, Dave, but we've seen a lot of purple here in Salem. And we have seen both of these teams take home Walden and bronze, and somebody will do it again.
Yeah, for the first time since 2003, Williams wants to win a title. Of course, they had a shot in 2004 as well. Wisconsin Whitewater trying to do it for the second time in 3 years. Want to add their names to the banners. The one thing we certainly will know is that we won't get a new banner here in the Salem Civic Center, but both teams would like to add another year to their respective banners here. And of course, for both teams, this is an opportunity that I think maybe not everybody counted on them for. I think a lot of people thought there's no way Williams could get Amherst, and I think a lot of people had a lot of confidence in the Titans of Illinois Wesleyan. And both teams now showing they're the ones playing in it for a national title, and in some senses, it's all bets are off.
Indeed. Illinois Wesleyan fell in the national semifinals to Whitewater last night by the score of 71-63, and Williams in dominating fashion over Amherst, 98-69 in last night's national semifinal, exercising all the demons you could possibly imagine. The frustration of losing to them 3 times this season, 8 times in a row, but now having won 5 in a row against them in the NCAA. And this one, again, for the second time in the national semifinals to get them into a title game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you talk about exercising demons in the right way. Got that taken care of. Amherst still has not figured a way past Williams. Of course, Whitewater, didn't have to see their arch nemesis down the road here, but certainly had their battles, including Illinois Wesleyan.
We'll get you the starting lineups here in just a moment as we get you ready for tip-off, which will come still in about 10 minutes. And we will take a break and we'll come back out with starting lineups, keys to the game, and more in just a moment. You're listening to the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball Championship game on D3 HoopsNet.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, and I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor's Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
It's not too late to get your tickets and get on out here. If you're here in the local Roanoke, Salem area, coming out to the Salem Civic Center for this championship game. But if you are listening at home, we thank you. And we have no control over the fact that there's no video stream provided by the NCAA for this game. But we hope you will suffice with us. For those of you who are Williams fans who remember back in 2003 when there was a Division III Men's Basketball National Championship called on the internet, on audio only. Pretend it's like that. You'll probably be pretty happy. Williams, the 2003 national champions. Whitewater, as Dave mentioned, going for it for the 6th time in 3 years and the 4th time overall. And we will run down the starting lineups. First for the Eafs of Williams. And we will start in the backcourt with a 5'8" freshman guard out of Linwood, New Jersey. Number 4, Mike Greenman. He will be joined in the backcourt by a 6'6" junior out of La Canada, California. Number 5, Daniel Wool. In the front court, Taylor Epley, wearing number 15, a 6'4" senior out of Louisville, Kentucky. Duncan Robinson, newly named to the D3hoops.com Rookie of the Year. a 6'7" freshman out of Newcastle, New Hampshire, and a senior center, 6'9", 240, out of Durham, North Carolina, number 44, Michael Mayer. On the other side for the University of Wisconsin, Whitewater, coached by Pat Miller, to start in the backcourt with a 6'0" junior out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, number 10, Cordell Young. Joining the backcourt by a 6'1" senior out of Greendale, Wisconsin, number 3, Alex Murg. KJ Evans, a swingman, a 6'3", 210 junior out of Beloit, Wisconsin, wearing number 14. And then in the front court, a 6'6" senior forward out of Milwaukee, number 15, Reggie Hearn, followed by 6'2" senior out of Elkhorn, Wisconsin, number 21, Eric Bryson. Thanks for joining us here on D3Hoops.com. I'm Pat Coleman, joined by Dave McHugh. And Dave, you know, these are two teams, obviously, who had distinctly different nights last night to get here. How do you think that plays out here this afternoon?
Well, if you're Williams, you are more than confident right now. You have dispatched the last three teams in more than emphatic fashion, including your arch rival in Amherst. You are executing incredibly well on offense, and you have certainly found something that's working on defense. And by the way, their backup plans are probably going to work up too. They just haven't had to go to them. Ironically, the 2-3 zone was a backup plan last game against Mary Washington in the round of 8, and it was their bread and butter last night against Amherst. If you're Whitewater, you've got to be confident too. You dispatched an Illinois Wesleyan squad who made a run late, certainly to make it interesting, but you played all facets of that game as well as you could in that environment. You've played well against a world beater in Emory. You've got to have confidence. That being said, Whitewater saw what happened last night as well. They know what Williams was capable of. You've got to be maybe a little bit nervous, so you're going to face a defense you aren't used to in any way, shape, and form. If you are Williams, you know that Whitewater is a formidable foe who's going to be a little bit more aggressive than maybe you're used to. Maybe you're not. The dichotomy of these two teams and the differences are going to be fascinating to see and watch, especially the first 5 minutes of this game.
Whitewater, when it won its national championship in 2012, really made its bread and butter on defense. That was a team that had not performed so well on defense, had not been much a focus for that program over the course of the previous several years under Pat Miller, and he came in to the 2012 season with a renewed focus on the defensive side of the ball. And by the way, they rode that defense all the way to a national championship, and they have played, you know, a similar style of defensive ball this year. That has remained a focus in Whitewater, Wisconsin.
Yeah, certainly defense is key for Pat Miller and his squad. But they also find different ways to work on offense. They are a dribble drive type of team. They are not overly big, especially when you see them line up against a Mike Wall, a Mike Mayer, and a Duncan Robinson. But they're going to be about maybe a step faster than Williams has seen recently. And already we're seeing the first elements of how this game is going to be different. TV drives things a little bit. We're waiting for them to come back from break, and now they're going to have a quick sideline report before they get everything going. So the teams, you kind of see them just standing around, wanting to get ready to go into the tip here. Both coaches kind of looking at the center like, can we start playing already?
Yeah, we're still almost 2, maybe 3 minutes from tip-off, and that is, you know, of course, teams have been dealing with the media timeout situation throughout the course of this NCAA tournament. A media break after every 4 at the 16-12, 8-4 mark, and they will have those again today, but they will be longer. So teams will get a chance to have a full rest. And we had talked about teams might shorten their benches, but I don't think these are teams that would like to do that.
Well, and I think yesterday they got a taste of the slightly longer TV timeouts. I think they tried to give them a little bit more of a taste, but it certainly would be longer. And for both teams, you're right. Williams, I don't think, wants to shorten their bench. I talked to Coach Maker. He's not a proponent of that idea. He's got matchups he likes that are deep in his bench. And by the way, there are guys who didn't see a lot of time last night who saw lots of time the previous weekend. If you're Whitewater, you might be able to get away with shortening your bench just a little bit. You can keep guys in there that you want, like Reggie Hurd and others that you want to keep. The only problem that's going to come into play is foul trouble, and that's when you're going to have to go deeper on your bench. Williams is more than confident going deep. It's a question of how deep can Whitewater go if pressed.
Mike Baker, the all-time leader in NCAA tournament wins at Williams with 16. Harry Sheehy, who led them into the NCAA tournament era in the NESCAC. Remember, for decades, the NESCAC was not permitted to participate in the NCAA tournament. He took them here to the Final Four in 1998, 1999, where they took home third-place wins. He led them to the national championship, did not lead them to the national championship. He had stepped aside for Dave Paulson at that point. But Pat Miller in his 13th season, 290 and 83. You know, they've won just their last 5 games, as we talked about repeatedly over the course of the week in the last couple weeks. And Pat Miller referred to it himself as a beatdown that they took in the WIAC title game against Stevens Point.
Yeah, he won't shy away from that description whatsoever. It was an annihilation, and we still have this delay, and I'm fascinated because it's one of those rare moments is that both coaches will be interviewed simultaneously at the game. But yeah, I mean, beatdown is exactly how he described it. He doesn't shy away from that description, and it was, and I think that gave a lot of people pause as to what was this Warhawk team like, and really, how dangerous was this Stevens Point squad?
Well, because it hadn't been very long earlier than that where...
Well, they had beaten them in overtime.
Right, Whitewater had beaten Stevens Point on Whitewater's home floor and handed Stevens Point to that point its only loss of the season.
Yeah, and so you had a lot of questions with this Warhawk squad coming in. Williams, a lot of questions coming in as well. They had lost in the title game to Amherst. They didn't seem like they were as good as maybe a lot of their fans anticipated and thought. But they have dispatched teams in this NCAA tournament, including their arch rival in Amherst, and it was, I think, as a result, they gained a ton of confidence coming in, and they are riding one heck of a wave here. And just seeing them line up right now, you can see Williams has the height advantage here. I would say certainly Whitewater's got the weight room advantage, maybe. I think they've taken a page out of their football team's playbook in the sense of bulking up for a game, but this be an outstanding game between two very different teams as Mayer versus Hurd will tip it off.
Williams in the white with purple numerals and gold trim. Whitewater in the black with gray numbers and purple trim as we get you started here for the 2014 Division III men's basketball title game, and the tip is controlled in the backcourt to Whitewater. The Warhawks will be attacking the basket to our right, going left to right across your computer monitor here in the first half. Williams showing that zone here early on in the first half. Bryson with a 3 from the right wing, and he hits it, and the Warhawks are on top.
Good job, just simple ball moving over the top, kind of feeling out that defense from Williams.
The Eafs come into today at 28-4. Up in the NESCAC, runners up in the WIAC, playing for the national title, and there's a travel as driving to the basket, unable to hold on to the basketball, is Taylor Epley.
Epley's going to be key. Honestly, he loves the outside shot. He will drive in if he needs to. He doesn't have to. How he will be able to take advantage of the defense they give him. And, of course, that 2-3 from Williams being shown already in the first 2 possessions.
Hearn trying to work against Maker, gets the shot up over him. It rolls off too strong, and Wool with the rebound, pushing it up for the Eafs into the front court. Little stutter step, no call. Robinson will pull it back out.
Wanted a double dribble, didn't really see it there. I think it was just an odd-looking moment.
Maker, spin move to the basket for 2.
Yeah, good job there by Mayer of going in against Hurd and taking the contact from Hurd. He did it on the defensive end. Hurd just had a nice shot of the previous trip down the court.
Hearn listed at 6'6". Looks like he gives up more than 3 inches to Mike Mayer. Whitewater with the basketball. Young swings near side for Bryson. Bounce pass to Hearn in the post. Back outside for Mergs. 15 to shoot from the elbow off the back iron. Too strong, and a fight for the rebound and a foul. And I should mention our officials this afternoon. Gary Pacino, he's out of Massachusetts. Peter Husenas, he's out of Wisconsin, and Malcolm Freeman from the state of Texas. Our alternate is Juan Corral.
If anyone's curious, we've evened it off, Wisconsin and the Massachusetts, but I suspect these guys probably haven't seen these teams too much, but you never know. But on the flip side, by the way, I want to point out, Warhawks are going after on the inside on that 2-3 zone. They're finding a way to maybe attack it that nobody else has in the last couple of games.
3-2, Warhawks with the lead. Eafs with the ball, 18-14 and counting in the first half. Robinson drives the lane, left-handed layup, gets the roll.
Robinson's going to be the X factor in this game. He is extremely talented, loves to drive in, but can also shoot from outside. How the Warhawks decide to defend him, especially with weapons like Mayer also available, is going to be key.
And loose ball.
Can't do that. Hurd tried to float it over the top of Mayer. That is not an option.
Yeah, Dave, I forget we're not calling video.
Yes.
When was the last time I called an audio game? coming down and with a nice little right-handed layup, Mayer for 2.
Yeah, he ended up with his back to the basket, but Mayer is unbelievable control of his shots. No matter what position he gets in, he expects a lot of contact, and when he doesn't, he gets them off balance. He still is able to score.
6-3, Eves with the lead. Warhawk basketball. Young dribble penetration from the top of the key. Loses it. Evans takes it. Nice little up and under move. Doesn't get the roll. Young with the rebound and a fresh 35. Berg, bounce pass in the corner for Evans. Evans guarded by Robinson, swings back around up top for Bryson. Dribbles in left side, right-handed floater, doesn't go, and Mayer with the board.
Mayer's killing it on the board right now. Hurd wanted the ball in the previous possession, but the guards didn't like the look.
And unable to hang on to the basketball is Mike Greenman coming back the other way, 2-on-2. Evans, right-handed layup from the left side for 2.
Good job to break on the 2-2 there. Greenman flat out just lost the ball and just nothing better than that. The ball got left behind him as he came dribbling in.
I don't even see live stats for this game, but I don't think that's a CBS thing. That's probably a technical issue. Up top with it is Epley. Coming back up top is Wall. 15 to shoot, 16:36 and counting left to go here in the first half. Mayer guarded out 20 feet from the basket, goes against Hearn. Going to count the basket, and Hearn is going to get called for the foul.
And you know what? A good call there. I mean, Hearn tried to flop it. I'll be flat out honest. He tried to get Mayer called for that, but honestly, Hearn's the one who's moving into Mayer's position there and not allowing the opportunity. Good call there, and again, Mayer converts on an opportunity.
Unlike last night where Whitewater was successful drawing some charges because Illinois Wesleyan went in with their elbows and with their shoulders lowered. That was not the case for Mayer, and Mayer completes the three-point play, and the Eves go up 9-5 here with 16:30 to go in the first half.
World of difference there. I mean, in that case, it was Davis and the others lowering shoulders and throwing elbows. Mayer's not going to do that. That's not his game.
Here's Hearn, and he traveled.
And if he wasn't going to get traveled, he was on the verge of getting his own elbow called as he put one into the solar plexus of Mike Mayer. Right now, Mayer's taking on Hearn and going, come on. He is taking on the thing, the body, and there's even help defense coming down just a little bit as Hearn gives him a little bit of a shoulder.
Mayer up at the foul line, outside for Greenman, way out on the right wing. Epley with it, looking at the high post back for Mayer. 17 to shoot, under 16 to go here in the first half. Epley from 21, that's off the left iron, no good, and Evans controls the rebound on the baseline. Young pushes it up. Kicks it back outside, Berg. Dribble penetration from the left side, throws it up, and is going to go to the line for 2.
That time, good job of getting Mayer off balance, gave him a little head fake, and it got Mayer to kind of get back on his heels a little bit and couldn't do anything with getting back in position on Berg. That's how you got to attack Mayer.
15:48 to go here in the first half. There's a timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. Williams leads Wisconsin-Whitewater 9-5 here in the first half of the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game here on D3Hoops.com.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.D3Hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Back out here at the Salem Civic Center, Alex Merg hits the first free throw, so he'll get another. Merg is 74% shooter, averaging 7.2 points a game. Second one is on the way and good, so the lead is down to 2, 9-7. Mayer with 7 of the 9 points, and the press in the back for the Warhawks. Williams had a pass deflected, but they do bring it across the timeline. 15:40 to go. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh here from the Salem Civic Center here in Salem, Virginia. Double teamed in the post. Mayer's shot rolls off. Tip-in doesn't go, and the rebound is controlled by Evans.
Don't know if it was on purpose, but Eric Bryson taking him on defense that time, and Hearn was on the backside.
Dribbling up the baseline, Evans with just a little, kind of threw it up back over his head. I think in horse, that might get him some points there.
Well, you know, whatever works, it gets you 2. Mayer's had a couple off-balance ones the same.
9 apiece. Coming up on the 15-minute mark of the first half. Mayer out on the wing, directing traffic, dribbles back up top, swings left side for Wool. Wool around to the wing for Greenman, launches a 3 off the front of the rim, no good. Oh, Bryson can't hold on to the rebound, and it's corralled by the Eafs. Robinson outside for Epley, fresh 35 for Williams, driving, right-handed layup around and off, no good for Wool. Battle on the rebound, out of bounds, it'll be Warhawk basketball.
You can see a little frustration from Dan Wool there that time. It was a great opportunity, great job off the dribble. Williams very good off the dribble with a simple drive, just could not get that one to fall.
Bryson with the basketball, inside for Hearn at the high post against this zone. Double team, puts the ball on the floor, bounce pass, gets it back from Bryson. Trying to work his way, kicks it outside. Here's a 3 on the way for Young, banks it home for 3.
Not sure he called bank, but a great job of ball movement and good composure by Hearn, who got shut down completely in a double team, was still able to find Young.
12-9, Warhawks with the lead. Mayer with the basketball for the Eafs. Eafs in the white attacking the basket to our left here in the first half. Ball almost taken away by Young. Inside with it is Mayer. A lot of fans from Whitewater and a lot of fans from Williams here. Greenman dribbles in, floater at the foul line extended, no good. Mayer unable to hold on to the basketball, and I believe he stepped on the baseline as he did so.
Hey, he wasn't happy there. I think he thought there was maybe a little bit of contact from Hearn, but Hearn was in great position as checking will be Rookley. And Kilcullen giving Mayer and Greenman a break. Kilcullen gives up about an inch or 2, doesn't certainly have the skill set Mayer has, but it's not like it's that much of a step down defensively. He's pretty solid for the Williams Eafs.
Starting 5 still on the floor for the Warhawks. Here in the basket to our right.
Whoops.
Was that an alley-oop by Bryson?
I think it was an alley-oop attempt, and he just line-drived it in the back of the net. There was a guy over there for the opportunity, just a horrible pass.
Yeah, he was looking for Evans, and he hit the rim.
And checking out is Hearn and Merg, and checking into the game, Steve Egan, the 6'6" forward junior from Omro, Wisconsin.
It's easy for you to say.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't. Oh, number 11 also checking in, Cody Odegaard.
Eafs with the basketball. Hayden Rookley up top with it for Kilcullen. Rookley gets it back. 20 to shoot, 13-15 and counting here in the first half. Here's a 3 ball on the way, off, no good.
Wow.
Nice rebound by Wool, and he is fouled trying to put it back up.
Yeah, great effort by Wool. He was by himself with 3 Warhawks, skied over him to get the rebound, and then forced the issue with Steve Egan, who doesn't like the call, but there was a lot of contact there, and Wool was able to get the foul called and will go to the line to shoot 2.
Coming into the weekend, Wool a 71% free throw shooter. 6'6" junior puts the first one in.
I think there are more Warhawks fans here than last night by looking back over my shoulder. I think some of them decided after the women unfortunately lost in the semifinals to make the 12-hour trek here. Or maybe they found a flight.
Also possible. Fly out of Chicago. Second shot off the back rim, no good for Wool. Rebounded by the Warhawks. 13:05 and counting remaining in the first half. University of Wisconsin Whitewater 12, Williams College 10 here in the Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game from the Salem Civic Center. Working against the zone. Here's Evans inside. Off the rim, doesn't go. Battles for the rebound, and he'll go to the line. Put it back up in traffic and got the whistle.
Evans attacking the rim, which is what they need to do against this defense, but at the same time, you got to convert. And you missed a great opportunity at the beginning. He's going to the line maybe from a lucky point of view from his point, because he didn't really have a great opportunity on the second chance.
Foul is called against Ryan Kilcullen, his first, team second. Evans' first shot on the way and good. Evans, as we mentioned before, 30 points last night, averaging 26 points a game over his last 4 here in the NCAA tournament, the team's leading scorer and rebounder, and he's a 72% free throw shooter. Could make it a 4-point lead, but he does not. Rattles out, and it's rebounded by the Eefs.
Rebounding so far been key for Williams. They have certainly done well defensively, limiting opportunities, and gotten a couple offensive opportunities as well.
Swings left for Wohl. Wohl guarded out on the perimeter by Steve Egan. Crossover dribble, goes to the basket, and a nice little layup, lean just around Egan for 2.
Great job off the dribble there, to say the least.
Cuts the lead down to 1, 13-12. If you're watching on CBS Sports Network on television, hope you turn the sound down. Hit a little pause on your DVR to catch up with us as Steve Egan puts it in for 2 to give the Warhawks a 3-point lead.
Yeah, good job of Egan that time, just finding the little slice in the defense and able to get through it.
Epley now up top. 3 on the way for Wohl, no good. Rebounded by Cordell Young. Young pushing the ball up the floor. The 6'0 junior out of Kenosha, Wisconsin, not too far from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. Bryson looking inside, gets to Evans, and Evans puts it in for 2. Evans with his 7th point of the afternoon, and it's a 17-12 lead.
So far, good job of attacking the zone. We'll see how Williams adjusts. They'll probably stay in the zone a little longer, though.
We're coming up on the under 12 here. Warhawks up by 5, Eef ball.
Williams still trying to set up some backdoor cuts. That certainly is their bread and butter.
Wohl kicks it out on the perimeter for Robinson. Launches an 18-footer on the baseline. Doesn't go. Odegaard with the rebound.
Good defense so far by Bryson on Robinson, but just he'll bide his time and find his opportunities, and that time Robinson whistled for reaching in. He was hedging around the pick and got called for it.
Odegaard paused out at the perimeter, then decided he was going to take it to the basket. Robinson caught a little bit off guard by that. 11:05 to go. There's a timeout on the floor. We'll take one as well. Warhawks lead the East 17-12 here in the first half of the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game from the Salem Civic Center on D3Hoops.com.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Welcome back to the Salem Civic Center. University of Wisconsin-Whitewater leading Williams College 17-12. Williams 5 of 13 from the floor, 39% 0 for 4 from downtown. The Warhawks 6 of 11 from the floor, 55% 2 for 2 from three-point range.
Williams coming out, staying in their 2-3 zone, not changing it up. Whitewater's had some success on it. We'll see if they throw maybe a few wrinkles into it.
Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh from the Salem Civic Center here for D3Hoops.com. And Odegaard on the right wing up top for Alex Murr. Bounce pass inside. Nice spin move, but shot too strong around and off for Steve Egan. Gets the offensive rebound at a fresh 35.
Egan got Mayer in the air. A little surprised it wasn't a call. I thought Mayer came down on Egan on that game.
And here's a three on the way and good for Cody Odegaard.
8-point lead here for the Warhawks, certainly working their way around the defense. Finding opportunities and second chance opportunities as well.
Biggest lead of the game. Warhawks still perfect from beyond the arc. Out of the low post extended, and Mayer trying to work his way in, draws the hand check foul against Steve Egan.
Well, Mayer went to make the move to his left, and Egan just kind of pushed him off. That's the kind of call that Warhawks are going to have to adjust to. Egan will take a seat. With his second foul coming in will be Hearn. But that's the stuff they're going to have to adjust to. If they're going to call that kind of stuff, as Hearn nearly gets the steal, and Bryson picks up the ball.
1-0, all alone to the basket, and he throws it down.
10-point lead here, and Coach Mike Maker wants to call timeout. Talk to his team. I think they're a little bit subdued, not lazy, but lackadaisical a little bit on offense, not taking care of the ball. That was a lazy inbounds play.
Sense of urgency maybe they lack.
It's probably a fair argument.
And they're down by 10 here in the national championship game with 10 to go in the first half. And Bryson sticking with that basketball, knocks it away, flies up the court. Nobody's going to stop him.
Hearn got his hand on the ball initially as he tried to float it into Mayer. Mayer's got the height. You can get that pass, and you just got to give it a little bit more. So Mayer goes and gets it, and Hearn doesn't come a factor. But that tip becomes free, and then fell into Bryson's lap as he sprinted up court. And of course, by that point, no defense could get back in time anyway.
Rickley to inbounds. Warhawks showing a little pressure in the front court, but they pull it back here as we come up in the 10-minute mark of the first half. Mayer with it out up top. Back to Rickley. Dribbles right, stops at the top of the key, pops and hits.
That's key. Rickley is very good from outside, and he can get on a roll. If he can get a couple shots to fall his way, that's going to be dangerous.
3 ball cuts the lead to 7, and Odegaard takes it to the hole, and the ball is knocked out of bounds.
Yeah, Mayer didn't even have to make an effort on that one. That was an easy block for himself. You're going to have to do a little bit more against Mayer in those cases.
Bryson to inbound underneath his own basket into Hearn. Back to Bryson on the baseline. Back to Hearn, working against Mayer. Goes around him, spin move, and a little hook for 2.
They're allowing a lot of contact, and that's allowing Hearn to literally bull rush Mayer right now, both on the offense and defense. We'll see how long he can continue to do that, or the officials will allow it all game.
Lead at 9, 24-15. Robinson puts the ball on the floor from out up top, kicks it back out of the corner for Greenman. Greenman trying to dribble up the baseline. Wild pass, but corralled by Epley. 10 on the shot clock. Rickley going one-on-one. No, kicks it out for Greenman. Looking inside for Epley, and nearly stolen away, but it's going to be out of bounds off of Whitewater with 4 to shoot. Odegaard tried to knock it away and corral it, but he was on the baseline. Shot clock does not reset because there was no change in possession. Williams has to get it in. Way out long in the backcourt. Robinson, 50 feet from the basket. Up ahead, Rickley launches from 25. It draws iron, but no good. Rebound tipped around, and it is Warhawk basketball.
Hey, how composed was Williams in that case? Duncan knew the clock wouldn't stop and start until he caught it, got the ball, got to Rickley, who took a couple dribbles. They knew they had time. That is some veteran and very savvy play from Williams despite no points.
Especially because the first guy you mentioned is a freshman. Hearn looking inside, and he's there for 2.
Man-to-man defense now from Williams. They've shifted into that look, and Warhawks had success there, but a nice job of at least throwing another curveball into this game by Williams. We'll see how much the Warhawks now can take advantage maybe of some physical play.
Eves with the basketball. They're going right to left here in the first half. Mayer with it out top, looking backdoor for Epley. Had to throw it a little bit too far behind him. Bows his way back, and he doesn't get the shot to fall, but he'll go to the line.
I would argue that's a good call, only because he was hovering over Epley, and so Epley's only ability to go up was to make contact and have a foul called. They certainly don't like it. Odegaard doesn't like it. Pat Miller doesn't like it. But it seemed like he was hanging over him, and that's what initiated the contact.
Odegaard's foul is his first, team's fifth. First shot good for Taylor Epley. Taylor Epley, the 6'4" senior forward out of Louisville, Kentucky. Among the leaders in three-point percentage in NCAA Division III coming into the weekend. Free throw is his first point of the afternoon. Second shot is good. So it cuts the lead to 9, 27-16. Patrick Suter checks in for the Warhawks. That we don't see very often. He's got the ball here in the near corner. He's played in 26 games this season, gotten a couple of starts. Hearn kicks it back out up top for Odegaard, driving his way to the basket, switches to the left hand for the layup, and the lead is back to 11, 28-17.
So far, Warhawks playing very good on offense. That is really the key here. They've taken on everything. Williams isn't doing bad. Wow, Merg is all over Robinson, and Robinson actually having some trouble with the shorter player.
Gets it in the low post for Mayer. Mayer, his fade shot is a little bit too strong and rebounded by Evans.
Officials are allowing contact. Hearn a little bit of a push there as Mayer went up for the shot. And they're going to call Greenman for what I thought was Merg's own feet getting underneath him. And he will hit the under 8-minute mark here in the game.
And the Warhawks have an 11-point advantage, 28-17. Here in the first half of the D3 Men's Basketball National Championship game here on D3Hoops.com. We'll be back with more from the Salem Civic Center in just a minute.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, then I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor's Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
And welcome back courtside here at the Salem Civic Center. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh. 7:24 to go here in the first half, and Whitewater leads Williams by the score of 28-17. Whitewater in pursuit of its 4th Division III Men's Basketball National Championship. Williams going for number 2 here this afternoon, now this evening here in the East Coast. Evans shot no good, gets the rebound and puts it back for 2.
Evans, nice drive in the lane, got a shot over Mayer, then got the rebound that bounced long and was able to get it and convert again.
Lead up to 13, biggest lead of the game here for the Warhawks. 7 minutes and counting remaining in the first half. Outside, 3-ball on the way for Wohl from the corner, and he hits it.
That was pretty. And you got to credit Aronowitz on that dribble drive that got that opportunity to pop open.
Lead cut down to 10. Suter with the basketball out here on the near wing. Back up top for Merg, swung around, 3 on the way, good for Odegaard.
Warhawks certainly feeling it from outside as well. That 2-3 zone from Williams, not all that effective on the outside shooting right now, as a good ball movement has freed up some opportunities.
Lead back up to 13. Greenman driving in from the far wing, kicks it outside on the far wing for Robinson. Picks up his dribble on the baseline, has to throw it out up top for Wohl. 15 on the shot clock, steps up from 21. Bank shot around and off and rebounded by Odegaard.
What's interesting is Merg on Robinson has changed Robinson's game just a little bit because Merg is so quick.
There's Hearn with it at the foul line and he traveled. Hearn standing at the foul line, gets the ball, sees the defender is actually like 3 steps away from him and starts moving a little faster than he thought.
Yeah, I think he expected Mayer to kind of meet him.
To come out,
yeah, and didn't get it, and as a result shuffled his feet before he put the ball down.
Robinson goes to the bench to get you a lineup refresh here for the Eefs. It's Wohl, Greenman, Mayer, Daniel Aronowitz, and Taylor Epley on the floor for the Eefs. We're down by 13, 33-20 with 5:51 and counting remaining in the first half. Dribbling in, right-handed layup off the side of the backboard, no good, and Suter with the rebound for the Warhawks.
Greenman got forced into that. That wasn't what he wanted to do on offense, but just wasn't any other opportunity with a guy in his hip pocket.
Suter with it out on the wing. It's Suter, Bryson, Hearn, Odegaard, and Merg on the floor. 19 to shoot. Bryson, far wing, foul line for Suter, dumps underneath for Hearn, and Hearn is fouled as he goes up. Double team came over to help. Hearn had to slide back a little bit in order to get a good look at the basket.
Hearn was actually, it was weird, was he was out of position when the pass was initiated. He then moved in position as the pass was coming and almost went out of bounds as a result of it. Hearn going to the line, coming into the night, coming into the weekend, 68% free throw shooter.
First one's good.
Looked pretty good there.
Hearn was 1 for 2 from the line last night. Warhawks were 18 for 26 from the charity stripe in the 8-point win against the Titans of Illinois Wesleyan.
Wohl checks out for Williams. Checking back in is Rookley.
Hearn's second shot on the way, and this one's good as well. A 15-point advantage for Whitewater. A little bit of pressure in the backcourt. Mayer trying to direct some traffic. He's finally just going to bring the ball up himself against Hearn. And kills him with a crossover at midcourt. Here's a 3 on the way from the corner. Shot no good. Offensive rebound is there for Rookley, and a spin move and a nice basket.
If there's one thing Mike Mayer has added to his arsenal, it's dribbling, and that was a clinic against a big man.
Well, and everybody just pulled back.
No one came up to challenge.
Wouldn't you hold somebody back to double team the center bringing a ball to the floor? And a travel out on the wing by Alex Merg.
I think Merg dragged his pivot foot. I can't see, he got a little shielded out, but from what I saw, it looked like his pivot foot dragged as he went to dribble the ball. Just got to listen, Warhawks are doing great on offense right now. Just compose yourself. You don't have to be an extra half-second quick right now. It's going to get you turnovers.
5th turnover of the evening for the Warhawks. Rookley with the basketball. Up top for Mayer.
Okay. How much does that dribble against Hearn change how Hearn guards him at the top of the key now?
True. Gives him a little bit more room. Here's a nice dump on a little give and go. Back to Mayer for 2 from Rookley.
Hearn got ball watching. He was caught ball watching as Rookley took the drive and lost Mayer as a result. Mayer had an easy cut.
Lead down to 11, 35-24. Odegaard with it out on the near wing, up top for Merg. Stops at the foul line, takes it, 16-footer, no good. And Mayer there for the easy board.
I think Hearn's a little bit tired. He just stood on offense that time, and then on the rebound, didn't even make a move to try and get anywhere to make an opportunity.
They are 2 subs at the basket, waiting to check in.
Tried to throw it off Mayer, who caught the ball, looking for a reset, finally get it.
And Mayer puts it in for 2.
You don't need a reset when Mayer's just going to take it one-on-one, do you? And he is fired up.
Under 4 to go here in the first half. Mayer now with 11 for the Eefs, and they've cut the lead back to single digits, 35-26. Hearn looking for some help. And he is, as you said, Dave, he is really tired out there. They get it into him, working against Mayer, back outside. Odegaard launches a 3. That's the first 3 they've missed tonight. No good. Rebound by the Eefs. Up ahead, Aronowitz back outside for Rookley, and he will set up the offense with 26 to shoot.
Williams starting to feel a little confident out there, doesn't it seem?
Yeah, they're playing with, they're
a little
definitely
swagger.
More energy right now than Whitewater has. And I would have to think that if they don't get a dead ball here, and here's a nice easy layup and an easy look for Epley. I don't know if, they have their one timeout, the disposable timeout. Should they take it? Or they're trying to get to the immediate? There they go. Whitewater takes that timeout. They've seen their lead cut to 7. They got 2 subs at the table waiting to check in. Wardell Young, KJ Evans both waiting to come back into the game. And Whitewater's going to get a little shorter if they take Hearn off the floor, but they need to give him a blow.
You kind of saw that coming. And not only Hearn, there were other guys who were starting to get winded a little bit there. And you saw Coach Pat Miller just kind of, he almost surveyed his team there before he called the timeout, then turned and called it. What I found interesting is Williams ratcheted up the 2-3. They got about a half step faster on their switches. Mayer certainly got confidence in that dribble up the court, and then his opportunity on the cut on the screen and roll. This is where Williams gets dangerous.
Who would have thought? The center bringing the ball up the floor, crossover dribble at midcourt is the energizer here in the last 3 minutes for the Eves.
And what's interesting is when Mayer goes to dribble, he gets down low. His Hearn will come back in, interesting enough.
And Mayer's sitting. So Mayer is out of the game. He's been replaced by Ryan Kilcullen Robinson. Wool, along with Brooke Lay on the floor, and Taylor Epley for the Eves here. 2:42 to go. Warhawks with a 7-point lead and the basketball. We mentioned Young and Evans back into the game, and the zone is back out in force, and the 3, no good from the wing by Bryson, rebounded by the Eves.
They've honestly only played about 2 possessions of man-to-man. They've been playing zone. They've just kind of ratcheted it up and extended it just a little bit more.
Robinson out of the wing from 23, and he hits it. 4-point ball game, 2:15 to go in the half.
Williams just woke up is what happened, and the Warhawks have got to withstand this for the next 2:09 if they want to hold on to the lead into the half, or Williams is going to have a ton of momentum.
Got to find a way to get a couple of buckets here. There's Evans slicing and dicing his way to the basket, just doesn't get the bounce.
He went in against 4 guys. There's no way you're going to get a good look.
He nearly put it in.
He did nearly put it in, though. You're right.
Eves trying to make this a 1-possession game. They're down 35-31, 1:45 and counting remaining in the half. Driving to the basket, up and under move. Brooke Lay, probably a little bit of contact there. Long pass up ahead, and the Warhawks cannot catch up with their own errant ball.
Watch out, Bryson might get signed by the track team here in a minute, the way he hurdled the stuff and then stopped himself. Almost karma, I would argue, maybe.
If he wasn't going to get signed by the track team, he was going to join the John Carroll Pep Band. And with a minute 38 to go, the under 4 timeout. We'll take a break. 35-31, Warhawks holding on with about 38 to go in the first half here from Salem.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader. All those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back to the Salem Civic Center, 35-31 the score. Warhawks with the lead. Eves with the basketball again, trying to make it a one-possession game here with a minute and a half to go to halftime. Ball deflected out near midcourt, but the Eves keep control. Robinson up top, launches from 18, off the back iron, no good. Rebound tipped, is going to go out of bounds off of Mayer, and it will be Warhawk basketball.
Yeah, that one right off of Mayer's forearm. He doesn't agree, but from my angle, it certainly looked like it went off Mayer. Both teams here got a minute left, minute 15 left. Kind of want to dictate what happens going into halftime here. So if the Eves can get a couple baskets, tie it up, even take the lead, that'd be huge momentum. If the Warhawks can stem Williams, that'll be even more important.
And the Eves already definitely have the momentum. Here's Hearn working in the low post. No good. Fast break the other way, up ahead for Wall. Nice turnaround and two, and it is a two-point ball game under a minute to go in the first half.
I think something people don't talk about a lot about Williams is that outlet pass. They will do it to break a press. They'll do it on a fast break. The guys know there's someone releasing, and they make the perfect pass almost every time.
Warhawks' long scoring drought here. Still up 35-33. Young. Looking inside, Hearn. And he finally gets the roll. Hearn, who's been battling so far here in this first half.
You know, Williams, we talked a lot in the pregame. We talked about it coming in, that we don't know if they've taken a lot of physical play. So far, it's been physical. Mayer stood the test. Hearn's got his opportunities as well. I think it's been a great battle. Ooh.
4-point game. Out, 3 attempt on the wing for Epley, no good. And Hearn with the rebound. Whitewater can take the last shot. Cordell Young, baseline jumper, partially blocked. Mayer gets it, and that's how the first half will end, as the University of Wisconsin Whitewater holding on to a 37-33 lead after they led by as many as 13 here in the first half.
Yeah, and you know what? Hearn got lucky on that previous possession by Williams. Overcommitted. Mayer could have made him pay. Didn't work out. But I think a job well done by Whitewater to not only at least set their tempo early and dictate how the game be, but also to withstand a great adjustment by Williams and a change in pace from them to result in a 4-point game, and then to allow Whitewater to hold on to the lead. This is going to be a fascinating switch at halftime. See what they come up with, different ideas, and then ultimately what will end up being who will make the biggest changes at halftime. I think it's going to be fascinating. Do you stick with what's happening, or you just play the first half like you did the second, or play the second half like the first, or do you switch things up?
I'll tell you what, so Whitewater had that stretch of the first 15 minutes of the game where they were on fire. They could do nothing wrong. They were hitting everything. They made their first 4 from 3. At one point, I look back, and they were 11 of 17 from the floor, and they ended up hitting just 3 of their next 10, and that's why they're hanging on to just a 4-point lead here.
Absolutely, and you know what? This is going to be the same old on the other side. I think they're going to see some changes, but I suspect both teams like how they're playing. I don't think either team doesn't like how they're playing right now.
So we're at the half. Wisconsin Whitewater leads Williams 37-33. We'll take a 2-minute break. When we come back out, our halftime host Bob Coleman will talk with Mike Schauer, the Wheaton College head coach, at the half, and they will break down the first half, and they'll run the first half stats, and then we'll get you back out for second half coverage in a few minutes after that. So again, from the Salem Civic Center, Wisconsin Whitewater leads Williams 37-33 at the half.
It allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
And welcome back to the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia, where at halftime our score is Wisconsin Whitewater 37, Williams 33, in a very hard-fought first half of basketball. This is Bob Coleman, your halftime host, along with the head coach of Anderson University, Owen Handy. And Owen, welcome, and thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thanks, Bob. Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Let's talk a little bit about that first half of basketball. Really a tale of I'd say about 13 minutes or so of Whitewater looking great, and then Williams really came on the final 7 minutes. What did you see in that first half?
You know, Whitewater does 2 things really well. They are really good at defending on the basketball without fouling, and they are one of the best teams I've ever seen in terms of their recovery from help. And it's not, given their physicality and athleticism, they are an elite defensive team in those 2 areas. And early on, Williams looked very, very uncomfortable because of how hard they had to work to get good shots. I thought they settled for shots early. As the half progressed, it looked like they adjusted, became more accustomed to how good Whitewater is. They were a little more patient, and they started to counter a little bit by getting to the basket with cuts, drawing help to those cuts and finding open guys on the side of the floor. A lot of fun to watch. 2 really well-coached teams, and Coach Maker, his team adjusting really well as the half progressed.
And Owen, were you here last night? Were you able to see the 2 semifinals last evening?
I was not.
Very interesting games there as well, and that you had Illinois Wesleyan and Whitewater squaring off in a game that Whitewater got out to a pretty comfortable lead in that second half. A game where Illinois Wesleyan really not at its best, struggled a little bit with the Warhawks' quickness. The Titans came back towards the end. The other game, what a shocker to see Williams really dismantle Amherst. I don't think anyone saw that result coming.
Yeah, and Amherst had won, I think, 8 in a row in that series. You know, one of the interesting things about Williams, they are such a tremendous offensive team. I actually made a note here. In their 4 losses this season, they've averaged almost 80 points a game in those losses, 87, 73, 70, and 80. 2 of those to Amherst. They are such a good offensive team, and watching them out here, it's not a surprise that they could put those sorts of points up like they did to Amherst last night. And I think it's probably, my guess would be, Whitewater has not seen a team this year that is as polished and varied offensively as Williams. And likewise, I'm guessing Williams hasn't seen a team that defends the way Whitewater has. So you've got a first half where 2 teams really, like boxers circling each other, have had a chance to feel each other out, and they're going into halftime making some adjustments. Boy, I think it's going to be a great second half.
So let's just take a step back and talk about kind of your program for a second and your trip to Salem. Obviously, this is a great opportunity for you to see this kind of field, and you know what top flight Division III competition looks like from being part of the CCIW, the HCAC now. But what is this like as a head coach to come to Salem and to be part of this as someone that's putting a program together?
I'll tell you, at first it's incredibly motivating. The level of play of the teams out here is just exceptional. People who have not spent time around Division III basketball don't understand how good these teams are. And for me, in my second year, we won 6 games, played a ton of freshmen. To sit here and watch this is incredibly motivating. In terms of the work it takes to be successful, the caliber of players we have to recruit to be good, and we're watching two teams that just compete. So, I mean, these two teams play so hard. And my first takeaway for myself is I got to get my team to play hard. I mean, these teams play so hard and so smart. I mean, very, very few mistakes being made by either team. It's a lot of fun to watch basketball at this level, and making some notes, taking some things back that I think I can work on that we can get better as a program. So this is a lot of fun.
We're at halftime at the Salem Civic Center. It's Whitewater 37, Williams 33 in the 2014 National Championship game. Owen, let's talk just real quick about offense against the zone. So you're Whitewater and you come out and you know coming in you're going to get this zone from Williams. So much different than attacking man-to-man. As a head coach, how do you approach it when you're going into a game knowing you're going to have to run zone offense?
Yeah. Well, I think it depends on a couple things. It depends on how much you've seen zones over the course of the season, how comfortable is your team, and how have you played against them when you've played against them. So that would be my first thought. If it's something my team has done well, I prepare differently than it's something we haven't done much. I think, Whitewater came out and hit that first three against the zone, and people talk all the time, to beat a zone, you got to make shots. Well, to beat anybody, you've got to make shots. I don't know that that's unique playing a zone. The thing I think Whitewater has done really well, they have guys who have great body control when they get into the paint, so they can get around one guy and still adjust to that second, to that help defender, right? So often teams, when they tack off the bounce against a zone, they beat their first man, but either don't have the savvy or the body control to deal with that help. So against the zone, especially when it's a big guy like Williams brings across in the paint there, Whitewater's just done a great job of getting in there, drawing the help, forcing the help to come, and then either making that second move to beat the help or finding the right guy on the weak side as the ball comes out. And clearly that's a strength of Pat Miller's team. They really break you down off the bounce well. And I think, as Whitewater's prepared to attack this zone, they've made shots, but the shots they've made have come because they've really attacked the gaps in the zone off the bounce effectively.
Let's talk about the second half. So we've got a 4-point Whitewater lead. Warhawks came out and really kind of physically handled Williams for a good majority of the first. Williams then makes a nice comeback to get right back in this game. First of all, from a Whitewater standpoint, you're up 4. You had a much bigger lead earlier in this half. What are you talking about at halftime, and what are your keys to the second half from a Whitewater standpoint?
Yep, I think the first thing I'm saying to my team is if we had come into the game and I told you we'd lead by 4 at halftime, we all would have signed for that. So you've got to get beyond the point that you lost the 13-point lead. And mentally, just so you know, mentally you can't have lost because you've conceded part of that lead. I think we want to make sure that we're defending with the same intensity, and we're looking at some of the things Williams has countered with offensively. That shouldn't change the way we defend, but we need to be aware of those things and aware that our recovery from help continues to be as strong as it was in the first half. I think Whitewater's a team that wants to win defensively, so I'm going to halftime and emphasizing the things that have got us to this point, and that's okay. How do we need to continue to defend to win the game?
And from a Williams standpoint, I think you've got the momentum at this point. You've made a nice push. What are you working on here at halftime if you're Williams?
Yeah, well, again, you want to speak to the outlook of your team. You want to paint the picture, give them the story of how the game's unfolding, right? Hey, we started slow. We didn't make shots early. They took us out of our stuff, but we've adjusted. We're playing with some flow. We should have some offensive confidence. I think my message, if I'm Coach Maker, is simply continue to do what we've done the last 5 minutes. You know that Whitewater's going to come out with renewed energy. You know they're going to talk about some of the things that they need to address defensively. We've got to be confident in who we are offensively. Not, again, just like with Whitewater, we want to, let's don't deviate from why we're here. Work for great shots. Don't settle for bad shots. It's not going to be perfect. You've just got to keep playing at that end of the floor.
Owen Handy, the head coach at Anderson University, my old friend from the CCIW. Owen, appreciate your time at halftime and breaking this down, and best of luck to you as you're building the Anderson program.
Thanks, Bob.
It is 37-33, Wisconsin Whitewater leading Williams. We're at the Salem Civic Center. When we come back, Pat and Dave will be back to talk through some statistics from the first and get you into the second half. This is D3Hoops.com.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, and I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
Back out at the Salem Civic Center at the half. University of Wisconsin Whitewater leads Williams 37-33. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh for the audio broadcast of the 2014 men's basketball national title game. And Dave, a matter of the first 15 minutes for Whitewater and the last 5 minutes for Williams.
Yeah, very much so, as both teams have tried to field each other out in the first, and I think Whitewater just came out with a different gear than Williams did. I think Williams eventually found that gear and changed it, and that's how it got to within a 4-point game. Well, Whitewater's shooting over 50% so far. Williams shooting about a little over 40%. And I think that could change in the second half. We'll see if there's also any defensive changes. Does Williams stay with that 2-3, which certainly in the second half of the half started to really work?
Well, and you have to think that, your team comes out, shoots 11 of its first 17, 4 for 4 from downtown. Those are not things that continue to happen.
No, absolutely not, and you can't expect them to continue to happen. And the other thing is we've seen Williams start to get on hot streaks shooting-wise in the last 4 or 5 games in the NCAA tournament. You got to figure that's building for them a little bit here, and we'll see if the Warhawks can handle that.
Now we get you ready for the start of the second half here in Salem. Whitewater has to find a way to score against the zone sometime in the last 5 minutes. Whitewater has to see if they can get another 17 minutes out of Reggie Hearn, who was effective for about the first 14 of them. And, Whitewater went a little bit cold there. Just made 3 of their last 10 shots in the first half and needs to find a way to kind of shake that off.
A little bit of a break here as teams still trying to get used to that. They want to come out on the floor and mill about. Not ready to just yet.
I would think if you're maybe the assistant coach, you might huddle those guys back up and just kind of keep their focus. Even if you don't have anything new to tell them, and how can you possibly have anything new to tell them?
Yeah.
After halftime.
Hey, so we just talked for 15 minutes. I got 2 more points I forgot to mention.
I'm just going to say the same thing I just said a different way.
Both teams are just kind of huddled with themselves, chatting it up in the corners, waiting for TV to return, get a quick commercial in before getting going.
Lead was as big as 15 for Whitewater.
Yeah, and I think what was interesting was that Williams literally looked like they shifted gears. I don't know if maybe the Mike Mayer crossover dribble at midcourt that put Hearn on the logo.
I thought you were going to say tarmac.
I was going to say tarmac actually, but on the logo was the impetus behind that. I don't know, but they changed gears after that point, and it certainly changed the dynamic and came roaring back on a Warhawk team that now looked like they were back on their heels a little more than they anticipated. I think Hearn just got a quick bite to eat, by the way, as we waited. Mike Tully, who's head coach of Roger Williams and AD, has something he's snacking on over there, and I saw Hearn go over there, get a little bite to eat as we wait.
Get that energy for this second half.
Smart man, had a little chuckle. We saw Calvin's head coach, Coach Vanderstreet, also have kind of a little chuckle at the moment.
And we are ready to go here for the second half.
I just want to know if anybody else wants a snack, they should go see Coach Mike Tully there.
Does he take orders?
He might.
I have a request. Familiar strains of UW from the Wisconsin Whitewater fans here behind us as we get ready to start the second half. Reminder, Williams is in the white with the gold numerals and purple trim. They're attacking the basket to our right here in the second half. Warhawks in the black with gray numerals and purple trim. Underneath, Mayer on a backdoor cut and the easy feed from Wool for two.
Can't believe I'm going to say this, but Whitewater lost Mayer. I mean, it's hard to do, but he had a great cut behind there. No one knew he was there. Great feed inside.
13 for Mayer, and the lead is down to 2, 37-35. Evans going against Mayer. Nifty reverse layup to go around him for 2.
Well, it's a great way to doing it. I mean, Mayer's not going to be able to move laterally to that part of the court very easily. Help defense didn't come over. I thought Evans did a very nice job of knowing he could go backdoor.
Yeah, certainly not going to be able to make that kind of adjustment with the kind of speed that Evans was able to muster. Here's a 3 on the way, and no good off the front iron. Long rebound corralled by Epley, however, and Williams get another possession out of it.
Changing defense up a little bit. Now Merg is on Epley, and Robinson has the bigger Bryson on him, sorry.
That's a roll that doesn't fall off the layup. Pushing it the other way, the Warhawks. Young switches hands in midair, no good. Hearn, rebound, spins, kicks it back outside. Evans dribbles his way in, out in the corner. Cordell Young, 3 on the way, and it's good.
Good ball movement, didn't have the opportunities and still found open men. And that started with Cordell Young not getting the shot he wanted, but then guys like Hearn composing themselves, found Evans, kicked it out, made a nice little, just a moment there that they didn't, it seemed a little disorganized.
Mayer in the low blocks against Hearn. Puts it up and puts it in for 2. Lead is back down to 7-5, 42-37. One thing Whitewater did well in the first half, Dave, they really moved the basketball well, and they did on that previous possession down here. 10 assists in their 14 baskets. Williams, 13 baskets at just 6 assists, but they protected the ball, only turned it over 3 times. So there's
nice little jumper there from Evans right against Mayer that time. Just kind of leaned back enough. Mayer was back on his heels after Evans kind of took a stab at him with just a little stab step. Nice little job of Evans creating space.
7-point lead again for the Warhawks. Williams working on the basket in front of us, and Robinson is fouled, and both Cordell Young and Eric Bryson want to take credit for it.
Say both of them go, hey, it's me.
Bryson is the one who gets whistled for it. Peter Jazanis, the official who's out of the state of Wisconsin here, making that call. You have an official from Wisconsin, an official from Massachusetts, and then the neutral arbiter is Malcolm Freeman from the state of Texas.
I don't know what Coach Maker wanted exactly. He's certainly a little worried about the count, and I think it might be the 3-second count, but he looked like he emphatically was asking the ref how to count it so everybody could see it.
Robinson's first free throw good. Team leader in free throw percentage, 88.4, and he misses the second off the back iron. Rebound, Epley can't get it to fall, and it's going to be Hearn who is rebounding and then fouled.
That'll be on Mayer. Mayer knew it. He came running in, headed in that position, bowled over the guys, picks up his second foul.
Not a lot of foul trouble in the first half. Steve Egan off the bench had 2 for Whitewater, nobody else with more than 1. As Young brings it into the front court, working on the basket to our left here in this half. Swings right for Bryson, about 26 feet out, gets it inside for Evans. High post, back outside for Bryson. Bounce in the near wing for Young. Young's 3 around and off, and Mayer picks off the board. Pushing it up. Greenman stops, foot on the line. Two-pointer correctly called, and it is a 4-point deficit for the Eves.
Had a big toe over the line on that one right in front of us. Pretty easy for us. I was honestly sure if the officials had seen it.
Yeah, we had the guy had 2 fingers to the down, so that was good when the shot was on the way. I learned something about referee mechanics in the Mid-Atlantic. Bounce pass inside for Hearn, and he travels.
Yeah,
Yep.
you can't believe it. And I almost wonder if Mayer baited him into it. I think Mayer stepped off of him.
He might have.
I think he just stepped off a
He
little
assumed
bit.
that, or Hearn may have assumed that he was going to be able to just lean against him and body his way to the basket.
Yeah, Mayer wasn't there. His coach calls out the fist pound. And Mike Maker has some of the most interesting play signals I have seen in basketball.
Mayer with it, top of the key. Picks up his dribble up top for Robinson.
Oh, they had
Guarded
Mayer,
by
missed
Hearn
it.
from 25. Rattles out. Rebounded by Bryson.
Duncan missed Mayer on the cut.
Up ahead, Hearn with the layup. Off a long bounce pass feed from Bryson, about a 50-foot outlet pass.
Hearn doesn't look like the guy who wants to go up and down the court all that much, but every once in a while he gets a breakout like that. He's able to get you because he does have an extra bit of speed.
46-40. Warhawks with the lead. East with the basketball. Coming up on 16 minutes left in the second half. Robinson working against Bryson, little fall away. Oh, that's pretty.
That's what I like about Duncan Robinson. He's got a beautiful mid-range game, including that fadeaway there. This looks effortless.
Back to a 4-point game, 46-42, under 16. Merg with it out on the near wing, guarded out there by Wohl. Now it's pass up top for Young, and Young,
Dragged his pivot foot.
Yep, sure did.
He doesn't like it, but Pat Miller's not arguing with him as we tick under the under 16.
15:41 to go here in the second half. Whitewater leads Williams 46-42. We'll be back with more coverage of the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game from the Salem Civic Center on D3Hoops.com in a minute.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Welcome back here at the Salem Civic Center. 15:41 to go in the second half, and it is Wisconsin-Whitewater leading Williams 46-42. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh. And Dave, I mean, Williams had that great stretch at the end of the first half. Really shut down Whitewater. Whitewater came out here in the second half and found a way to put some points back on the board.
Yeah, absolutely. I think these two teams are battling well against each other. I think they're fine. Have figured out what they can do well. I think they've been able to figure out what they can take advantage of the other team, and really it's just going to be mano a mano the rest of the way.
Up top with it is Wohl, hands off for Epley. Top Mayer, 23 feet out. Swings near side for the Eafs, who are down by 4 with the basketball. And pass deflected by Evans, but Wohl gets it back. Mayer on the baseline, working against Hurd, walks. Yep.
Yeah.
Yes, he did. He spun, and he seemed a little bit surprised he got called for it, but
I thought maybe he thought there might be a foul called on her, and they haven't called that all game, so there's no foul going to be called. Hey, he just got caught up on himself. Nice spin move back, but his feet were a step behind him.
Looking
yep, 2-3
zone-ish.
still.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. They've only played maybe handful of possessions where they haven't played 2-3.
Suter outside for Merg. Launches a 3, and he hits it. 7-point advantage.
I haven't really talked about Merg very much in this game. I think he's played terrific defense so far. Offensively, hasn't been a main weapon. Great job there of stopping Epley, but a nice pass off to Mayer. But a good look there from Merg on the 3.
Robinson, the freshman, pulls up from 16, and he hits it. A little bit off balance, maybe just a little bit rocked back, but no problem. He got his upper body under control.
He is a smooth shooter, and to consider he's only a freshman.
Yeah, that you have to cut his leg open and count the rings, right? It just doesn't seem right.
No, he's got more skill than many should have. I think he's going to pick up a foul here for a hand check, but that's what makes me say, hey, can I just nominate him now for Player of the Year in the future? Because he is a terrific player for Williams, and why Williams is going to be in great shape for a little while here with Duncan Robinson on the lineup.
Warhawks with the 5-point lead and the basketball. Merg with it up top. Suter out on the right wing. Dribbles back for Merg. Trying to work their offense about 24 feet out. Bryson on the far wing. Suter trying to find something on the baseline. Nothing there. 15 to shoot, under 14. Here is a pull-up 3 for Merg. Too strong. Back iron. Rebounded on the run by Wool.
Still at 15 on the shot clock. I don't think Merg had to force that shot. That was a forced shot at the top of the key. I think Williams' defense just kind of had Whitewater lost as to what to do on that possession.
Yeah, I think Merg might have seemed a little frustrated. Pulled that trigger more earlier than he needed to, and here's a foul out on the perimeter.
It's going to be on Merg for hold. He tried to go around the Mayer screen, and his only way of getting around it was kind of reach out and try and give a tug back.
So Merg's foul, his first. Second team foul of the half, 2 team fouls in each direction.
Well played game. Both teams playing very well.
Worthy of a national championship, and there's a travel.
Yeah, Robinson got his feet caught up underneath him. Just a little too quick of a decision there. He's going to come to the official and ask him what he did, but basically he just kind of shuffled his pivot foot.
Lineup check for you here for the Warhawks. Evans, Merg, Suter, Hearn, and Bryson. For the Eafs, as Mike Greenman goes to the bench, and they
there was an assistant coach for Williams who was
trapped in no man's land.
Yeah, he was trying to figure out something at the scorer's table, and they almost blew the play in with him standing at midcourt.
The foul timeout guy. So we got Wool, we got Rookley, Mayer, Epley on the floor right now, along with Robinson for the Eafs. Merg with the basketball up top, sitting in about the same spot, gives it off for Bryson, over for Suter.
You can tell Williams has done their homework. They know who to worry about for shooters.
Here's Hearn in the low post. Blocked by Robinson.
Yes, Robinson came over on the help defense and got that clean.
Trying to cut it down to a 1-possession game, and Mayer gets the basket, and he'll go to the line.
Mayer has picked up the pace on what he's doing inside, spearheaded by Robinson on the far side. Hearn got the ball on an off-balance scenario defensively. Mayer was in position. Robinson came from the backside all the way across the post to get the block. That time he fed Mayer inside, and Mayer got a beautiful look on Hearn to pick up the 2 and make it the 3.
Rattles that one in, and it is a 2-point game. And we got coming back into the game for the Warhawks, Steve Egan. And as Suter goes to the bench, also Hearn goes to the bench, and Cody Odegaard comes back in for the Warhawks. So there will be not much smaller. Egan is only a little bit smaller. He's not shorter, but not as big as Hearn.
They changed the shooting scenarios here. Williams has done its homework on who to worry about for shooting, and they got a few extra guys out there they have to consider next time.
Here's Egan, gets the ball in the low post, working against Mayer, goes up with it with a little bit of confidence, but doesn't get it to fall.
Egan wanted to call there, but to be honest with you, the refs haven't called that all game.
Yeah, there was not a lot of anything there, frankly.
There was contact, but they haven't called it all game. Why are you going to look for it now?
Because he hasn't been in the game all game. Here's a 3 in the wing from Wool, too long. Rebounded by Egan. Bryson brings it across the timeline. 12:23 and counting remaining in the half. Odegaard fakes the 3, dribbles in. Shot doesn't fall, and Mayer with his long arms pulls in the board.
Wall got faked right out of his sneakers. I don't know why you're trying to be acrobatic against Mayer. He could have stepped in from 10 and hit a jumper instead, but both teams just going mano a mano right now.
Taking it to the basket, and going to draw the foul is Wool.
Watch the Eafs fans explode here if this ties the game on 2 free throws. Egan, I think, will pick up his 3rd. It will be on Egan. his third, team's fourth. Egan, they have taken it to Egan when he has come into the game. They have attacked Egan on the defensive end. That is where Whitewater is struggling right now because he has not been able to withstand that, but they've got to put Hearn on the bench right now and give him a break.
Exactly. You can't leave Hearn out there like they did in the first half. It's just that the backup behind him is a bit of a fall off, and the first shot good for Wool.
And because Hearn is on the bench, Mayer will take a seat now. Kilcullen will check in. He and Egan are about, literally look like the same player standing next to each other.
Not just because they both wear 33 either.
No, ironically enough. And Aronovich will also check in for Williams.
Second shot good for Wool, and it is a tie ball game. 12:04 and counting remaining, an all-new ball game, 49 apiece, and the Williams fans come to their feet.
This is a great atmosphere. These two teams, this is a worthy championship game.
Evans up and under, it gets it to fall, and a chance for three.
Now that's what Evans does, puts his finger to his lips as to say, let's quiet down now, to nobody in particular, as we click under the 12-minute mark.
15 for KJ Evans as we go to a break. There's a timeout on the floor. Warhawks have retaken the lead with a chance to make it 3. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes here from the Salem Civic Center.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Back here at the Salem Civic Center, 11:54 to go. 51-49, the Warhawks with the lead, and with KJ Evans at the line to try to complete a 3-point play. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh from the Salem Civic Center.
I was talking about Quillman, and we both remarking this is a well-played game. Both teams know their strengths and are just basically saying to the other team, here's what we have, stop us.
And he completes the 3-point play with a free throw, making it 52-49.
Whitewater's showing press here, but Williams loves to break it over the top.
And nice finish by Kilcullen off the assist from Duncan Robinson.
Williams will go for a mid-range or long-range pass every time to break a press.
Odegaard on the blocks, forces it up, doesn't go, putback doesn't work, and it is rebounded finally on the third chance by Wool.
Odegaard kind of put himself in a bad spot there, got into a double team and then decided to force his shot up. I think he needed to look for a play there, and then Egan missed it because his teammate ran into him.
Egan playing with 3 fouls. Reggie Hearn getting some time on the bench as he has played a lot here this afternoon.
He's tired, but he's played some great minutes.
Trying to drive in from the top of the key. Wool loses the handle, gets it back outside. 6 on the shot clock. Wool gets it back, driving right side off the glass for 2 and a chance to tie it up at the line.
No, this is
taking a 2-point lead at the line.
This is outstanding. I mean, I can't say it enough. These two teams are just going at each other and playing very well. Wohl with a kiss off the glass that time. I'm not sure how he got it off in the first place.
I don't think KJ Evans is sure either, and he just checked it the replay out on the video board to see.
Wohl, I think, switched hands. I think in the middle of that, he went left to right hand off glass.
And he completes the play, so it is a 2-point lead for the Eafs.
When's the last time the Eafs led this game?
16:30, they led by 4, and then Whitewater came back and controlled most of the first half after that.
Eafs bench on their feet, enthusiastic with his lead. Could have gone the other way too.
Wow, Merg is flying in and passes the ball off a little bit out of control, but he's going to draw the foul.
I'm going to want to watch that again. Rookley, I thought, you could argue that Merg had already left his feet by the time Rookley actually gained position. And that is, by definition, this year a offense or a blocking foul. Wohl takes the steal and Merg fouls him.
Foul was on Daniel Aronowitz, by the way, his second, team fourth.
Wow, interesting looks there between Merg and Wohl. These two teams have played very classy ball, picking each other up off the floor, but that time Wohl and Merg really collided, and the two of them kind of exchanged looks, and I think exchanged an understanding that was accidental.
Mayer back onto the floor for the Eafs along with Epley. So it's Mayer, Epley, Rookley, Robinson, and throwing the ball in will be Daniel Wohl.
And as soon as Mayer came back into the game, Pat Miller went to the bench and brought back Hearn.
So Hearn is in. Alex Merg goes to the bench. Also, Egan goes to the bench. So we'll get you a Warhawk lineup checkup here in just a moment. Rookley with it, looking inside for Mayer. Mayer spin move in the post, loses the handle, gets it up, and is going to draw the foul. And boy, Reggie Hearn was on the floor, double team, thought he had the basketball.
Yeah, he reached in though. It was a great job of coming over to help defense. He gets it back, and Hearn just slaps it out of his hands, picks up his third. Don't think that's a big deal with 10:27 left. I think obviously the fourth one's a big deal here. You can't put him on the bench right now with Mayer in the game.
And certainly Hearn still played very aggressive defense as Mayer makes the first. Last night when he had 3 fouls and when he had 4 fouls.
He actually got really smart on defense and picked up a couple offensive charges against Victor Davis for lowering the shoulder. The difference is Victor Davis is about the same size as Hearn. He's not going to necessarily get that from Mayer. Mayer's game is not to lower his shoulder.
So Mayer makes them both. It's a 4-point lead for the Williams. Matches their biggest of the game. It's Young, Odegaard, Evans, Bryson, and Hearn on the floor right now for the Warhawks. Bryson, cross-court pass outside for Odegaard, dribbles in, 12-footer, baseline jumper, no good. Rebound tipped by Young, but by Evans, and unable to come up with it.
Wohl's starting to make his presence known on the boards as well. He is starting to crash in there. He's getting to loose balls. Williams, all of their guys are finding different elements of the game that they are improving on as this game continues to move on.
6 rebounds for Wohl. There's a shot, no good by Mayer, and then Mayer falls over Hearn, who's on the floor. At
Young
the other
on
end.
The other end. Wow, Young goes slicing through and gets Robinson for the foul. Hearn back on the other end tried to do what he did with Victor Davis, tried to get a call. He tried that in the first half. It doesn't work because Mayer doesn't lower his shoulder.
He doesn't, and Mayer's, exactly. And it's not the
so it
same
doesn't
body
look like
type.
a charge. It looks like you're just flopping.
Young to try to complete the 3-point play, 68% foul shooter. And it's no good, rattles out. 8 points on the evening for Cordell Young.
And quickly back to the other play. Mayer made a spin move to the lane. Hearn tried to make it look like a player control. That's a hard one to have any ref trying and get a call from.
Here's a fall away from 18 for Rookley, no good. Hearn there to collect the board.
Nice look. I think he wasn't all that settled on the shot.
Young was pushing it up on a 1-on-4. I don't know if you want to try to beat the zone down the floor. That might be what it takes sometimes.
That's the thing about Williams is they get back down the court really quickly on defense.
Attacking from the right baseline and gets the ball to roll in is KJ Evans.
I mean, this might sound a little odd, but there's nothing fundamental about KJ Evans. He hits everything off balance. He gets shots to fall for him. He doesn't take your prototypical jump shot or layup.
18 points. Driving in from the top of the key, Robinson gets it to roll around and in.
Robinson's trying to start to make his name known as well. You start to see other players for both teams start to try and put their stamp on this game.
Eve's up by 2. Here's a 3. Good for Eric Bryson from 26 feet.
Yeah, that was NBA range right there. Smooth. Not, Coach Miller doesn't mind that shot falling if it falls. It's a wasted shot if it doesn't early in the shot clock, but he looks smooth on that delivery.
Back and forth, and the Warhawks are back in the lead with 8:20 to go.
You can feel the energy in this building.
Rookley with the basketball, guarded by Young. Dribbles into the paint and is kind of bumped to the outside, and he will draw the foul for that.
They're allowing some contact. They're not going to allow that. That's just a little too much of a hip check, is what I call it. And Hearn was looking for some explanation from an official as well, but that's just a little too much contact.
First foul, team's 8th. 1-and-1 opportunity here for Rookley, who's an 86% foul shooter.
What I find really interesting out there, this is completely random. You're used to very much teams wearing the same sneakers, everybody.
First shot good.
Not one of the guys out, there's no uniform sneaker out there for either one of these two teams.
There's not a lot of shoe contracts in Division III so much.
There's
at the end of the year, how many pairs of shoes do you get for the year? And in game 32, are they still useful? Rookley made them both. 1 point lead again for the Eves.
Greenman will check out, Rookley will check. I should say Rookley checks out, Greenman checks back in. But it is a collection of shoes out there, Nikes, and I mean, honestly, I don't think there's one pair out there that's identical to the other of the 10 guys on the floor. I know that's random, but it's just find it
interesting.
Actually,
I think there are players on opposite teams who have identical shoes.
Possibly, yeah.
By the way, Merg comes back into the game. Odegaard goes to the bench. He has the basketball now in the high post for Evans. Back out to Merg. 15 on the shot clock, under 8 to go in the game. And here is Young splitting the defense from the left side for 2.
If you could give an assist to Hearn, you would. He screened out Mayer, put him on the baseline so he could not come over to help with Young.
Keeping track of lead changes for us, folks. There's another one, 61-60. Warhawks back on top. Williams with the basketball. Looking inside, low post, Robinson. Nope, back outside, Robinson with it. 3-ball on the way, good from Taylor Epley.
Lead change. 7:16 left. Both teams they are executing so well right now. It's not that the defenses aren't playing well, because I think they're also playing well. Offense is just clicking on all cylinders right now for both teams.
Looking inside for Hearn. Hearn working in the low post against Mayer. Going to go between 2 defenders. That shot too strong. But rebound by Evans, and Evans is going to go to the line. Evans put the ball back up as strong as he could in that double team of trees underneath for the Eves. And after this media timeout, he'll be shooting a pair. Yeah, that media timeout. 6:55 to go here in the second half. It's Williams 63, Warhawks 61 from Salem Civic Center.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. and you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
6:55 to go here in the national title game here in Division III men's basketball. Williams leading the Warhawks 63-61. Evans to shoot 2, and he makes the first. KJ Evans, 19 points, the junior out of Beloit, Wisconsin for the Warhawks. Has a shot to tie it up. Here with this second free throw. And he makes that one as well. All even once again at 63 with 6:55 and counting remaining in the ballgame. Glad you joined us here on D3Hoops.com. Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh. Courtside at the Salem Civic Center. Evans blocks the shot from behind. And the Warhawks have the basketball. Evans tries to dribble through traffic, and it gets bailed out by a Pat Miller timeout. So it's 6:38 to go, a 30-second break. We will keep it here.
He almost got to ride a little bit too much momentum from the block on the way down. He tried to split a double team that was unsplittable. Luckily for his sake, the coach called timeout. Otherwise, that ball was going to be end up in Mike Mayer's hands rather quickly.
Final from Stevens Point, Wisconsin. The Wisconsin Whitewater women's basketball team defeated Tufts 72-54 in the third place game at the women's basketball Final Four. They don't play a third place game here in the men's basketball Final Four. We were treated to an all-star game between teams from various regions, some more eastern, some more western, and the western team in name only defeated the Eastern team in name only 104-101 in a fantastically entertaining game.
That's always fun. You get to see guys you don't normally get to see playing with each other or against each other. I love that game. This one is about, by the way, spectacular in nature.
This game's okay.
There's 6:38 left. These two teams, you start worrying when he gets up to 15 points and maybe Whitewater's going to make a message here and Williams hasn't got a chance. East come roaring back, playing incredibly good basketball. And I say it again, it's like both teams just know how they can execute, and they're just taking it to the other team. Both teams' defenses are playing well on top of that. It's just going to be whoever's left standing at the end of this one, and maybe whoever has the last shot.
If we get this done in 40 minutes. The stats here, second half numbers for Whitewater. They're 10 of 20 from the floor, 50%. 3 for 5 from downtown, 60%. They have been out-rebounded in the second half by a total of 11-10 by Williams. Williams is 10 for 19, just a hair over 50% from the floor, 1 for 3 from downtown. And they have been 9 of 10 from the foul line here in the second half to help continue to make up some of that difference as we're tied at 63 apiece.
Yeah, I mean, out-rebounded so far. Whitewater in the game is out-rebounding the East by 4. And shooting outside, 4 for 14 for Williams, 7 for 11 for Warhawks. But, I mean, I don't think the stats are telling you the entire story of this game.
Warhawks inbounding underneath their own basket into Evans. Evans, little fall away, one-hander, my goodness. Wow!
He got physical to begin with and then put up a little touch pass. It's just, that's the definition of opposites.
65-63, lead changes once again into the Warhawks column. Mayer underneath, kicks it outside on the baseline for Wohl, back to Mayer in the low post, working against Hearn. And going to be called.
That's interesting. Got an arm bar.
Yeah.
Haven't had that called all game. Not saying it wasn't. I was just a little surprised. I want to see.
And that is 4 on Hearn, of course. That's 6:13 to go, and he has to go to the bench. Steve Egan comes back in.
That changes everything. And I say that because Williams has shown a penance to go after Egan, who has 3 fouls himself. If Mayer and them see this opportunity, this could be very dangerous territory for the Warhawks.
Made the front end of the 1-and-1. He's got one more coming.
How long do you keep Hearn on the bench with 4 fouls? How long do you risk Egan being out there, who has he has been out there and picked up fouls. That's all he's done in this game.
Second shot on the way, off the back iron, too strong, and Bryson with the board for the Warhawks, who maintain the 1-point lead. It is Young, Evans, Bryson, Merg on the floor, along with Egan for the Warhawks, going right to left across your computer monitor here in the second half. Bryson, stutter step, dribbles in on the baseline.
Didn't want to go up against Mayer. He backed it out.
Pulls it back out, 15 on the shot clock, 5:53 to go in regulation. Evans dribbles in, goes over Mayer, no good. Skying for the rebound, Egan. Trying to kick it back outside in traffic. Ball on the floor, tie up, waiting for a whistle. There it is, jump ball, and the possession arrow points towards Williams.
Actually, Whitewater.
I was looking at the scoreboard. That is a bonus light,
That's
my
a
bad.
bonus light, yeah.
Like we need to know the bonus. We can't count numbers. Clearly I can't. Arrow points towards Whitewater. It will point towards Williams
I thought
next.
Egan actually got away with a double dribble there. I thought he'd gotten the rebound, put a power dribble down, then started dribbling again. But again, I can't see who may have gotten in there with his hands.
It was so hard to tell exactly what was going on in that scrum 90 feet from us. Bryson to inbounds, long pass out top for Young. 30 seconds on the shot clock, 5:38 to go here in the second half. Still in the zone. Worked fairly well here in the last 20 minutes or so. Here's Bryson outside, 3 on the way for Merg. No good. Rebound underneath for Egan. Egan with the putback.
Good job of Egan getting in position that time. Mayer got a little bit distracted with some other players he had to worry about on the rebound, and Egan had an easy opportunity. Then Mayer smart not to foul him in that scenario.
Second bucket on the night for Egan, and it is a 3-point lead for the Warhawks, 5:08 and counting.
Of course, Mayer only playing with 2 fouls. It wouldn't have been the end of the world, but I don't think it would have solved anything.
Here's a pull-up floater in the lane, and that is put down by Epley.
Epley actually had to get his hand back. He got tangled up as he went around a guy. He had it behind him. He had to grab his shooting hand and bring it back so he could take a shot.
Lead back down to 1. Bounce pass inside. Egan going around. Oh, and the Mayer, and the shot goes around and off.
Too bad. That was a great move by Egan. That was the best move he's had all night. And caught Mayer a little bit off guard by the quick step. He just couldn't get it to fall. And Egan's got Mayer tied up. That's going to go against Egan. Egan might not like it, but he tied up Mayer, and this is his 4th foul. Tied up Mayer, and when Mayer tried to get out of it, Egan locked it in more. And that's his 4th foul. I told you it's going to change everything. Hearn's going to check in here. You're playing with danger right now. If you're Whitewater, your 2 best guys to go up against Mayer each have 4 fouls now, and we got 4:33 left here.
And Mayer's a 6'9" big man, but he's not the guy that you want to hack and put on the line. He's a 77% foul shooter. 5 of 6 on the evening.
And by the way, he has a penance for only missing 1.
Penchant is that
Thank
word.
you.
Yeah, sure. First shot good. He could be doing penance if he misses it.
Yeah, he would be. As Egan will take a seat, Hearn will check in again. 4 fouls here. This changes how they may be able to attack Mayer or how Mayer can attack them.
Second shot on the way. Mayer's good. 1-point lead, 23 points on the night for Michael Mayer. Eves with the 1-point advantage, 4:26 and counting. Young with the basketball, near side for Merg, looking inside for Hearn. Gonna go to him. Kicks it back outside. Young, open 3 from the wing, off the back iron. Bryson with the rebound and a fresh 35 for the Warhawks.
Williams is giving up a little bit of the long rebounds.
Here's Hearn back inside, loses the handle on the way up, and Mayer's there to collect it off the glass.
Williams losing the long rebounds because they're trying to make sure that the mid-range rebounds come their way.
Wohl puts the ball on the floor, and they're going to call the offensive foul. And Hearn, boy, playing with 4 fouls, not even defending against Mayer, comes over to help against Wohl and draws that charge. Take a look at it one more time here.
Yep, that's the right
that's
call.
a charge.
Absolutely. That was where Hearn was. Wohl was out of control, backing into him. That's the right call.
4:01 to go, and before the media timeout, Williams takes a full timeout, so we'll take a break here. 68-67, East with the lead with 4:01 remaining in the national championship game from Salem.
Sports is important, but having the academic part along with it is a big plus.
I've discovered in myself, a newfound ability to overcome adversity at all different angles. At a Division III school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual. The end result in my mind is you just become a very well-rounded person.
Before I came into college, I didn't really think I'd be able to balance so much. It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
With a D3 school, there's a lot of time for other opportunities. The coaches expect a lot of you during soccer, but after soccer, that's your own personal time to really find out who you are and other opportunities that you can pursue.
By balancing all of my interests, basketball, my leadership skills, and academics, I'm able to better prioritize my life and to manage it.
Back out at the Salem Civic Center for the final 4 minutes and 1 second of the second half here in the Division III Men's Basketball National Championship game. Glad you joined us for audio coverage of the 2014 Men's Basketball National Championship. Walnut and Bronze will go home somewhere where it will have company. Somewhere will not be an only child. Whitewater looking for championship number 4. Williams looking for title number 2. Williams has the lead. Warhawks have the basketball. Wisconsin Whitewater attacking the basket to our left here in the second half. Evans with the ball. He's got 22 on the night. Young over in the corner for Bryson. Launches a 3. No good. Merg there for the rebound and a fresh 35 for the Warhawks.
Not sure why Merg didn't just go right back up with that one. He had perfect position, just had to put it back off glass.
Here's Evans, double teamed. A shot partially blocked, and it's going to be corralled, except Robinson unable to hang onto the basketball. He traveled. And there's the media break with 3:31 left.
We'll take a look at it when we get back, but interesting scenario down there on the offensive end.
Williams still leading by 1 with 3:31 to go. We'll be back in a minute.
Something I discovered in myself is that if I have a goal, I can accomplish it.
It's a well-rounded experience.
At a Division III school, you primarily a student athlete, so the school is really shaped around you developing yourself as a complete individual.
It helps a lot that you have a family with your team that can guide you.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
Back here live courtside at the Salem Civic Center in Salem, Virginia, home to the Division III Men's Basketball National Championship every year since 1996. I'll put some air quotes around that for 2013. And Pat Coleman along with Dave McHugh here for the 3:31 mark of the second half, where the Eafs lead Whitewater 68-67, and off the inbounds, Hearn's shot is deflected, and eventually the rebound goes out of bounds.
You know, he doesn't like it, but it went right off of his arm. It was pretty clear from this angle. By the way, great job of Mayer getting the block.
Williams' ball was the call, by the way.
Yeah, Williams' call. Bryson didn't like it, but looked, all intents and purposes from my angle, to be out off of him.
Greenman, Wohl, Robinson, Epley, and Mayer on the floor for the Eafs. Up by 1. With the basketball, Mayer being guarded by Hearn, who has 4 fouls, and Hearn reaches in and kind of touches him in the chest, and he's out. That'll do it.
Listen, you got called for your 4th foul on an arm bar.
Yeah, and with your guy dribbling away from the basket, not going towards the basket.
You can't then turn around and think that you shouldn't get this call. Pat Miller is arguing about the call on the previous end. I don't think there was one. Oh, he absolutely two-hand checked him. Mayer goes to make a move. I just saw the replay, and Hearn just two-hand pushes him. That's a foul by every definition this year.
And don't forget, Steve Egan, who comes back in to replace him, is playing with 4 fouls himself. He may not make it through to the end of the game here with 3:12 to go, and Mayer's first shot is no good.
Wow.
Still a 1-point ball game.
Mayer doesn't miss a lot of free throws. I'm surprised he missed a second in this half.
He makes that second one. That is a 2-point advantage for Williams with 3:10 and counting remaining in regulation.
Of course, no media timeouts left. Both teams have 3 timeouts remaining. Whitewater has 1 full.
And Williams has the possession arrow. Bryson up top for Young, swings near side for Merg. All out around the arc. Back up top for Young, 15 on the shot clock. Evans dribbles in, 18-foot fall away, no good, short, battle for the rebound, tipped out. Young gets it, fresh 35 for the Warhawks.
On Hearn's 5th foul, by the way, the Wisconsin ref's the one who called it.
It sure did, and there's a nice dribble penetration there by Eric Bryson, puts it off the glass for 2, tied up.
Bryson's had a bit of a quiet second half. Kind of like that little move there by him,
and really
inside.
Bailed out the Warhawks, and Williams is going to take a timeout. The Warhawks really got bailed out by Bryson there because they had spent basically about 45 seconds on that offensive possession and didn't get one good look at anything.
Absolutely agree with you. 30-second timeout here called by Williams. They have 2 remaining. I mean, this is that time where it's not necessarily X's and O's. It's just reminding players exactly what you want to execute or that one little play you want to throw a wrinkle on them. Remember when we talked about this in practice? Let's do this. Remember, it's da-da-da-da-da. Williams just wants an opportunity to make sure they take advantage of 2:28 left on the clock and get a lead. They want Warhawks to be playing from behind.
Whitewater came out into this game on fire, hit 11 of their first 17 shots. 16 for 42 cents.
Wow, that's interesting. 4th foul out of the season for the Warhawks, period, was Hearn's foul out there.
Thanks to our friends at the Ode Access Project or that tidbit. You could see that note on Twitter with the D3H hashtag. If you've gotten all the way to the 5,600th game of the Division III season and you're not following that hashtag on Twitter, you're missing a lot of great information. 69 all, 2:20 and counting. Eves in the white, attacking the basket to our right here in the second half. Mayer up top, guarded by Egan. Hands it off for Robinson, 12 to shoot. Wohl, one-on-one against Evans. 6 on the shot clock, switched off. Wohl tries to dump it underneath, and Mayer unable to hold on to the ball in traffic.
There's no reason Mayer should have been trying to grab that ball.
There's no reason Wohl should have been trying to pass it to him.
It was a horrible pass, and Coach Maker unpleased with the effort.
69 apiece, $1:49 to go. Young dribbles in at the foul line, kicks it back out for Evans. KJ Evans, 30 points last night, 22 tonight.
Williams has been in a 2-3 zone the last 3 games for a max of or no less than 6 minutes of anything else as Merg traveled.
Merg trying to dribble penetrate from the left wing, and he did. He traveled.
But against Mary Washington in the round of 8, 5 minutes. Tonight, 2 possessions. That's it. It's been 2-3 zone from Williams.
Still tied up at 69 apiece with $1:28 to go. Greenman off on the far wing with it is Wohl. Dribbles up top, stops at the foul line. Back out for Robinson, the D3 Hoops Rookie of the Year, drives in, and he's going to draw the foul.
Got undercut as he went up. Got the block after the fact, but that's going to go on Young, I believe. No, they're going to call that on Bryson. That's
Number
his
2.
second.
2 on Bryson.
So Robinson will go to the line. He's not too bad a free throw shooter.
88%.
Yeah, leads the team coming into the weekend.
He had 30 points last night. He's got 15 so far here this evening. First shot on the way is good. Eves back up by 1 with $1:15 to go.
If you're a NESCAC fan watching Robinson play, you're shaking your head. You got 3 more years of this. Oh, and Greenman too, by the way.
Second shot good, 71-69.
Warhawks tried to get a sub in, got there too late.
Bryson with the basketball, dribble penetrate, trying to go in left side, blocked by Mayer. Egan controls the rebound, however. Minute 5 to go, shot clock 24.
Mayor's gotten more aggressive on those in the last 5 minutes of the game. He's gotten a lot of them.
And because his big competition's out of the game. Here's a three on the way, and it is good! Bryson nails it!
Beautiful shot from Bryson. Nice step off the line. Nothing but composure there.
As that zone kept extending out, that was all Bryson could do was shoot from about 23, and he buried that one. It's a 1-point lead for the Warhawks. Williams takes a timeout with 49:9 to go.
Yeah, they're going to have one timeout left. It's a 30-second timeout. Warhawks, on the other hand, have 3 timeouts, one of them being a full. Of course, on the other side of this, Ephs are in a double bonus scenario, and the Warhawks are only in a 1-and-1 situation, so that certainly bodes well for a hot shooting Warhawks team on the line Ephs team coming in to the weekend. The team shot 76%, whereas Whitewater is a 69% free throw shooting team. Again, for the Warhawks, Hearn on the sideline with 5 fouls. Egan out there with 4. How that will translate in the next 49.9 seconds is to be determined. But with the Warhawks up by 1 and the Williams with the ball, this game's got last shot written all over it.
Final countdown
now
from the John Carroll Band with 49.9 to go. The Ephs come out of a timeout. They trail by 1. They have the basketball. They have the possession arrow. They're in the double bonus. All sorts of things on the East side, but not the scoreboard. They're down 1.
There is replay capabilities. Just keep that in mind for anything in the last minute here.
I'd like to see it on that out-of-bounds play a couple minutes ago. And a inbound play batted out by KJ Evans. He's fired up and trying to get the Warhawks fans.
What's going on here?
Into it, and now the official coming over to the scorers table.
I'm a little confused.
Are they checking to see who was out?
They're going to check the clock. Speaking of replay, they're going to check the clock. That's 2.1 that came off. That's a little too much, in my opinion. Probably you could give you a half second to 3/4 of a second, but not 2.1 seconds. So they'll go to the scorers table to review that.
72-71, Warhawks with the lead. When we come back, the Ephs will be trying to inbound the ball opposite the scorers table. Quick game reset for you. Ephs with 17 fouls. They have 1 timeout remaining. Warhawks 3 timeouts remaining, and they have 10 team fouls. So the Ephs will be shooting double bonus the rest of the way. Warhawks still in the 1-and-1 situation. The possession arrow, as a reminder, still points toward Williams with 47.8 to go. They have just the 1 timeout remaining.
Yeah, Williams with 1 30-second timeout remaining. Williams has 3, with one of them being a full. And that could come down here at the end to be a benefit for the Warhawks. But got to see how much time's left on the clock here. Again, it was at 49.9. And now it's at 47.8, and the ball was only tipped out of bounds. So you got to figure they're going to review this. How much they can review it, I'm not sure.
The alternate official
now getting in the
Juan Corral on the headset talking to the truck.
Yeah, he just got on the headset too. I'm not sure what the message is coming in. That might be one of those that's the best we've got, guys. And now they're showing it up on the big screen here. They're showing the wrong element of what's on the screen here.
Warhawk fans here making some noise. They know how to get to Salem.
Been involved with a few of these types of decisions this year myself. This is taking a little long.
The truck should be familiar with this, but that doesn't mean our D3 officials are. Dave produces some of the very few games that have video replay capability. Meanwhile, Williams fans showed up in force here this weekend, but the Warhawk fans are making all the noise right now.
I think a lot of them came those 12 hours last night, if I do say so. This crowd wasn't this big yesterday. I even think some of the fans from the other teams stuck around to watch this game. If that's hard to do if you're an Amherst fan, to be sure.
Our officiating crew from Massachusetts and Wisconsin, along with Texas. A all-star officiating crew being employed here for all the games here in Salem.
And now they finally have made a decision. They'll add time, we know. How much to be determined. It was at 49.9.
I hear 48.5. Is that what I heard the officials say?
I would give that. I could argue. That'd be a good one for me. They also reset the shot clock.
Should they? It was the possession didn't change.
48.9. So they took a full second off. That's good. Well, they just readjusted the shot clock, added that same amount of time to the shot clock as well.
48.9 left in the second half. 30 to shoot. Williams still inbounds in front of our position here at half court. Greenman with the basketball, getting pressured out near midcourt. Now brings it over. Up top with it, Mayer swings far side for Wool. Back to Mayer, and not able to hold on to it. Egan picks the ball off, and he draws the foul. But does he get the timeout?
Timeout. No, there was no foul, but just a little too far out ahead of Mayer that time. Couldn't get it to where Mayer wanted it. That's an easy steal for Egan.
How you like your Steve Egan now, Dave?
No, that's not bad, except I hate to not give that all to Egan. That's just an errant pass. That should have been a little closer to Mayer. That's an easy play for Egan.
You know, Egan, who is playing basically only because Reggie Hearn is already fouled out. Reggie Hearn spent 5 fouls on the interior. Egan has spent another 4 fouls on the interior from Whitewater on Williams, and Warhawks have the basketball and a 1-point lead with 35.1 to go.
And a difference of 0.1 on the shot
They
clock
could
here.
run the game out, so Williams is going to have to foul. I assume Williams will pressure in the backcourt, pressure the inbounds pass, and then try to get the 10-second call.
I'm looking at Bill Fenley because I just want his opinion on this one.
No,
when do you go for it? What timing do you give the foul here?
This is a 1-point game. So.
I know, I'm just saying, what's the timing?
No, Mike Mayer, 6'9", senior on the inbounds
and
pass.
they've got to get it in,
to
too.
defend it.
That's a whole nother can of worms.
It's one of the things I said, indeed. Evans is trapped in the backcourt.
Not fouling.
Gets
Smart.
the pass away. Yeah, they can try to get the 10-second call, but they're unable to do so.
Oh, the shot clock came off, by the way.
That's interesting. And
I'm not understanding of that. Doesn't matter now.
It's irrelevant as Robinson fouls Merg out near midcourt. It's just a 1-and-1 here, so Merg will be shooting 1-and-1. It's a 74% foul shooter, 2 really big free throws for the senior from Greendale, Wisconsin.
You also have to wonder if that shot clock getting turned off the last second would have changed the defensive mentality. I don't know.
It doesn't matter because you can launch the ball with 0.3 to go and the clock will expire while the ball's in the air. It's irrelevant. So Merg is going to go to the line. Shot on the way. No good, around and off. Rebounded by Wool. Williams brings it into the front court and gets the timeout here. Final timeout of the second half for the Eafs, who have a shot to win the game here with 18.7 left.
18.7 seconds left in the national title game between two teams who have completely different philosophies, offensive mentalities, defensive mentalities, and have played a heck of an even game. Williams got down early, 15 points, came roaring back. Warhawks got down by as many as 4, have stayed in it. These two teams, worthy of this championship game, have played it, and appropriately this will come down, most likely to a last shot.
Williams playing in the national title game for the 4th time. Lost 1 in 2003 in the closing seconds. Lost on a bucket with 0.2 to go to Wisconsin-Stevens Point. Trying to bring home Walden and bronze for the 2nd time. Williams inbounds in front of the scorers table. Greenman, Wool, Mayer, Robinson, and Epley on the floor for the Eafs with 12 seconds to play. Down by 1. Robinson working his way against Bryson, throws it up, shot, no good, put back, good with 4.8 left. Warhawks gonna push the ball up the floor. Young dribbles into the lane, layup, and it's good with 0.9 seconds left. 1 point lead for the Eafs. They are down by 1 with no timeouts left.
And he'll go to the line to shoot 1 to make it a 2-point game. You figure they will, you don't have to review the clock here, ladies and gentlemen. One thing to keep in mind here in Salem, the whistles are attached to a device that stops the clock. So you don't have to waste, that time is legit. So they will go to the line to shoot 1 here. No timeouts left for Williams. Coach Maker's trying to get a couple guys down deep.
So Young to the line to try to complete this 3-point play.
He line drives it and he sinks it. He didn't want to do that. Coach Miller will call timeout. He did not intend on making that shot.
2003, you remember?
Oh, I vividly remember. 2004.
Also 2003, though, Gustavus had a long
Yes.
inbounds pass. They
Yes.
had to get it 75 feet to get a shot off in the closing second, and they were unable to do so. It was taken away by Williams, and they ran out the final seconds on the clock. Here, Williams needs to have that length of inbounds pass to get a good shot, but yeah, that free throw was practically irrelevant. Eafs are not likely to get off a 2-point shot that would have won the game in a 1-point game, or a shot that would tie the game here in a 2-point game. They're only likely to get a 3.
He wanted to miss it so the clock would start in an unsettled situation. That being said, Williams certainly looked like they were scheming something up anyway, but that's what they wanted. It was an unsettled situation that would waste a bit of time on the clock automatically. Now you have a legitimate chance to get it over midcourt before the clock even starts.
You think about Whitewater giving Williams this timeout in order to set that back up.
Is this a smart timeout in some scenarios? You're allowing Williams to maybe scheme something. On the other hand, for Whitewater, you also want to at least be smart on defense.
You want to
here.
make sure you're playing your too-deep zone.
Do not get in the way of the shooter. And I mean, don't even, because if you foul him and send him the line here, you're in even worse trouble.
Merg, Young, Evans, Bryson, and Egan come back out for the Warhawks. For the Eafs, it is Mayer, Robinson, Wohl, Greenman, and Epley, the starting 5.
Loves to send 2 guys towards the ball from the backfield, then release one. Watch for a guy to go and then go back deep for a long pass.
You can't pass the ball to somebody going away from the basket with 0.9 to go.
They love to run towards the ball and then curl back and release.
Here's Wohl running the baseline, looking to throw the baseball pass in, throws it right in front of us. Robinson turns, shoots, and it is no good. And the Warhawks, for the second time in 3 years, are the Division III men's basketball national champions. 75-73.
You gotta love the look. It was a decent look from 30 feet. Robinson had time to turn and fire, just couldn't find the rim.
What a finish to the 40th Division III men's basketball national title game and the 4th title for Whitewater. They now tie Wisconsin Platteville for the 2nd most titles in Division III basketball history. Of those 40 titles, 11 of them belong to the Wisconsin Intercollegiate Athletic Conference.
Heck of a game by both teams. You almost kind of wish that shot went in just for how epic this game had been at this point. I thought it was the look Williams wanted. Thought it was well defended by the Warhawks to get 2 guys on him. Robinson's your best shooter in that scenario. Just didn't happen for him. It just fell a little to the left.
I've been interested to go back and count how much of the 5 seconds Wohl took to get that ball in too. You're thinking of those safeties out there playing in coverage in the secondary, basically like a football team trying to force a coverage sack for 5 seconds. He does get the ball in, finds his receiver, and Robinson is there. It's about as good a look as you can get from 94 feet away with 0.9 to go. You're never going to get a great look. You're just going to get something that's passable, and it was certainly enough to make everybody in this room hold their collective breath.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I was leaning trying to see if there was any way it was going to be close to the rim. And even when you watch the replay, the Warhawk players weren't all that sure when it left his hand that they were going to have a national championship headed their way.
And Cordell Young hits the layup with 0.9 seconds to go to give the Warhawks the 2014 national championship. There'll be plenty more coming here from the Salem Civic Center. They will announce the all-tournament team. They will cut down the nets. I think We Are the Champions might get played at some point, and lots more to come. Dave McHugh and Bob Coleman and I will continue to take you through all the post-game coverage here from the 2014 Division III Men's Basketball National Championship here on D3Hoops.com. We'll be back in just a couple of minutes with more coverage here from Salem. Again, the Warhawks, your 2014 national champions.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at D3Hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor's Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
I did receive a non-athletic scholarship upon entering school.
I got the presidential scholarship, which was huge for me.
I think there's more opportunities for academic scholarships in Division III.
I did receive academic scholarships. Just being involved on campus, being a leader, all those things combined kind of get me recognized. It's a great experience for me.
Back out here at the Salem Civic Center, We Are the Champions is playing for the Wisconsin Whitewater Warhawks, the national champions here in 2014 in men's basketball. 75-73 winners over the Ephs of Williams College when Cordell Young hit a layup and then followed it with a free throw with 0.9 seconds ago, and then Whitewater survived a final 0.9 seconds that saw Duncan Robinson loft a shot that was in doubt at least until the final couple feet.
Yeah, I mean, it could have gone, it ended up leaking left, but it was as good a shot as you're going to get in that scenario. I think you're going to be talking a lot about the look Cordell Young got, being able to drive into the paint and get a look on Michael Mayer, who made an outstanding effort to block him, but a little bit of English off the glass allowed that to fall, and Mayer picked up the foul. I think, at first I thought Young got cut off by Duncan Robinson coming over and stopping him, but somehow he got through that, left him one-on-one with Mayer. He didn't give up, nor should he in that scenario. I think we're going to be talking about that moment for a long time.
Goes down in history along with the Calso shot with 0.2 to go to give Stevens Point the 2004 title. The last second defense by Williams in 2003 to secure that championship. I think of big shots in the semifinals, or Cal had a buzzer beater against Franklin and Marshall to survive that semifinal and then go on to win the title. Tonton Belinga, 2.1 seconds left right here at this spot right in front of us in 2006 to lift Virginia Wesleyan over Wittenberg, and this game belongs in that echelon. We go back and count the number of lead changes in the second half when you see that final box score. It's a pretty impressive second half of basketball. And you can remember the Warhawks were in control. They were up by 15 with 5:24 to go in the first half, and Williams did a great job to get back into this game, and not like they spent their entire energy doing it, because they went toe-to-toe for the 19 minutes and 51 seconds of the second half.
Listen, you cannot hang your head if you're Williams. You played a terrific basketball game, and I think proved a lot of naysayers wrong, saying they couldn't play with a Whitewater-type physicality. They went toe-to-toe with them. And if you're Whitewater, you got to feel a little bit relieved that you get this national championship, because you're right. Williams came back from 15 down, made this a game, and then went toe for toe with them. I think they didn't get a chance to take advantage of some opportunities late, certainly, but the Warhawks certainly deserving champs. The Ephs would have been deserving champs as well.
Go back to the pass as Williams is trying to take its last shot. They had taken a timeout with with under 30 seconds to go. They had the ball in their offensive half of the floor with under 10 seconds left. and trying to move the ball around, trying to find Mayer inside, and the pass to Mayer is a little bit off. Mayer unable to corral it. Steve Egan, who's only playing because Hurd fouled out earlier in the game, is there to collect that ball and get a huge possession with 35.1 to go.
If Mayer gets that ball and is able to take up shop against Egan, I think it changes the dynamic. They take a 2-point lead. Now Whitewater's playing from behind. That's why Mike Maker had called the timeout prior to that. You know he wanted Whitewater to be playing from behind against his 2-3 defense. What's interesting is that didn't happen. What's also interesting is as well as Williams has gotten back on defense all tournament long, they got back against Cordell Young. They just couldn't get the stop. And again, Duncan Robinson with a heck of a look from 30, 35 feet. Couldn't get it to fall. It slid left on him. It actually had the distance. It was perfectly targeted. It just went left on him. If it's on target, that's nothing but net for a winner.
And the building would still be exploding if something like that happened, a buzzer beater in the national title game.
We might be waiting because they might be reviewing to make sure he actually hit it with the clock in the right, didn't run out of clock, I should say.
So Cordell Young finishes with 13 points. KJ Evans had 22. Bryson, a key basket in the closing minute as well. When Whitewater was down there in those final minutes, Eves had a 1 to 2 point advantage for a large portion of that, and it was a job by Eric Bryson, who bailed out Whitewater after they had about 40 seconds of really bad looks at the basket. Finally found a way to dribble, penetrate, and come up with something.
Well, Bryson finally hit a 3 from about 23 feet. That was just smooth. I mean, that was the thing about these two teams, is nothing seemed to faze them. I mean, they took shot after shot from each other and just took it in stride. And I think that was the most amazing thing about this game, was just how well it was played and how unnerved nobody got. I don't know how I wanted to say that, but
everybody was calm, collected. They
just took it. Okay, all right, we're going to go down and do our thing now. Thank you. All right, come on down. Great, we're going to go back down again. Neither team seemed to be phased. Even when Williams was down 15, there was no panic. And that's the amazing thing, to say the least.
Oh, the Warhawks of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater add a 4th national championship to their ledger as they defeat Williams by the score of 75-73. The Warhawks were one of the first teams from the old Wisconsin State University Conference to join Division III, and they won 2 of the early championships before the rest of the conference moved over. They won in 1984, they won in 1989 when current head coach Pat Miller was a player on that team. Pat Miller brought his team back to Salem in 2012, where they came down from double-digit deficit against Cabrini in the second half to win the national title 2 years ago, and they come back this year and win another national championship. And how about the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater as an athletic program in general?
Just keep pouring it on. I mean, the Warhawks Salem is certainly Warhawk home at this point in time. If they're not winning national championship, they're at least playing for one or in attendance. Certainly purple has become Salem's unofficial or official color. The women's basketball team made it yet again to a championship weekend, finishing 3rd this year after finishing 2nd last year. Their wrestling teams had a tremendous year this year. If I'm not mistaken, I think, was it swimming? It was somebody else who participated. Oh, track and field, indoor, outdoor track and field had a tremendous year as well. If they're not winning championships, they're up there in the conversation, and hats off to them, because they have certainly found a formula that works for themselves, especially with nothing but Wisconsin kids for the most part. This is you got to give it to them. Hats off. They take on all comers, and they've proven a way to win.
We'll take a break. We'll be back out. We'll have final stats for you, and then more coverage from Salem, Virginia, where the Warhawks of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater have defeated the Eves of Williams College 75-73.
Division III allows you to give yourself to other things.
Having that free time allows me to pursue the things that I want to pursue.
Division III athletics affords students the opportunity to, engage in the other interests in their campus and in their lives outside of that sport.
It allows you to just be able to do everything you want to do. I wouldn't change it for the world.
College basketball lives in Kansas City at the College Basketball Experience at Sprint Center. The College Basketball Experience is the place to get your game on. It's not a museum, it's an experience you won't forget. Discover the history of the game in the National Collegiate Basketball Hall of Fame, featuring the Gallery of Honor, Mentor Circle, and Honor Theater. Suit up in the latest CBE logoed Nike gear at the CBE Hoop Shop. Elevate your game today and visit the house that college basketball built.
Every season starts with hope and a dream to play for the ultimate title, to become NCAA national champions. And you can experience it live at the 2014 NCAA Division III Men's Basketball Championship, March 21st and 22nd in Salem, Virginia, hosted by the Old Dominion Athletic Conference and the City of Salem. Affordable tickets now available. Visit ncaa.com/tickets today and make a date with champions.
We've got more schools than Division I, more fans than Division II, and more upsets than March Madness. There's 800 programs with over 11,000 games leading to 2 national championships. And we've been covering it all for over a decade. From Eastern to Occidental, from Puget Sound to Piedmont, from Southwestern to the University of New England, and from Hope to Calvin. Nobody covers Division III basketball like we do. We're at d3hoops.com at www.d3hoops.com.
And welcome back courtside. Hoopsville courtside postgame coverage of the defending, I've talked to
I don't know what you're saying
the
right
national
now,
championships of Division III men's basketball. The Warhawks have won their second in 3 years and 4th overall, defeating the Eafs of Williams 75-73. The Eafs, victim of a last-second shot yet again here in Salem, and yet again to a Wisconsin school, ironically enough, or coincidentally, however you want to look at it, Nick Bennett involved with both of them, as Nick Bennett was on the Stevens Point squad that saw Jason Calso hit a shot with 0.2 seconds left back in 2004 to defeat Williams and keep them from winning back-to-back national championships. Nick Bennett, the assistant coach for the Warhawks, and this team who win a championship thanks to a Jordan Young shot on a layup with 0.9 left. Duncan Robinson got a heck of a look from 30 to 35 feet, but could not get it to fall as the Warhawks go on to win what I would call an epic game here in Salem. I am Dave McHugh, joined by Bob Coleman here on Hoopsville Courtside, part of our D3Hoops.com national championship coverage. And Bob, you and I said it at every break, this was a tremendous game.
This was a great game. I always think back to that Williams-Stevens Point game, right when Jason Calso hit the shot, same basket that Whitewater just scored on. Nick Bennett, of course, involved in that one. This is going to go down as one of the best Division III championship games here in Salem. This was a fantastic game. I mean, lost in what Cordell Young did is the fact that Michael Mayer almost won the national championship for Williams on the other end of the floor with his tip-in.
Absolutely. I mean, it was a heck of a tip-in.
Right, almost won the national championship. In fact, you know.
And then got down the court to try and stop Young.
Right, thought he did. I thought he had won the title, and then great presence by Cordell Young to get that thing and not. I mean, he knew scoring time. Yep. And a lot of times in that situation, a guy will get the ball and just take a look around real quick to figure out where he should go. He did not hesitate a millisecond. He got that thing and he was sprinting right down the middle of the floor. He scores, athletic move around the paint, gets fouled, makes the free throw. Incredible.
How many times did you think he nearly got stopped? I thought he nearly got stopped at midcourt, and then I thought Williams did a terrific job. Duncan Robinson was one of the guys who came over, seemed to have him stopped at three-point line. He got past Robinson somehow, and I still don't know how he did it. And then Mayer had a great shot. If it's not for a little bit of English, that ball does not get kissed off the glass. He may be going the line to shoot two,
right?
But talk about the pressure that would have presented.
He had to lay that in just the perfect fashion for it to go in. Just a little bit of English on it. His body had to be, his arm was extended. It was an incredibly athletic play.
And Mayer nearly got his fingertips on it. That's what actually drew the foul. Imagine if Young goes to the line to shoot two instead. He's a 68% free throw shooter. I'm not saying he doesn't hit both, but you would have had a whole nother level of tension here in the building.
Absolutely. It was a great game. Really a great performance by both teams. You can look at both teams and say they countered what the opposing team did extremely well. You know, Williams such a great job handling Wisconsin Whitewater's physical presence. And on the other end, Whitewater did really a great job attacking the Williams zone. So this is a championship where both teams played really well.
Well, they attacked it so well, yet Williams was still good at it, that they stayed in it. I don't have any.
Right.
I think they did a smart job. A couple times went to man just to throw a wrinkle in there in the first half. Otherwise, stay with the 2-3 because I think it still worked as well as the Whitewater offense tried to click against it. And then on the flip side of that, Williams is like, all right, physicality, let's go.
I think Williams was very comfortable with playing the zone and giving up the shots they were giving up. Had Williams gone man-to-man, I don't think they would have withstood any chance to defend KJ Evans.
No, KJ would have opened up for sure.
They would have spread Williams out, and Evans would have had a field day. Williams did the right thing. They stayed in the zone. It worked. They were good with it. Wisconsin Whitewater was attacking well. It worked for them. They were good with it.
Absolutely. And I don't remember the last time we had a national championship game that felt manu imana like that. It felt like both teams just took it at them. Not in a physicality way. I just mean this is what we're running. Stop us, and if you do stop us, we're going to come down here and try it again anyway.
Great X's and O's matchup. I'm sure this is one that all the coaches that come down here will be talking about a lot, and throughout the game, I'm sure they were talking to each other because this was an X's and O's dream when you look at how different. These are dramatically different teams that played tonight, and they both tried to do very different things to each other. It was really kind of a fascinating matchup.
Quickly, before we look at stats, we talked about the game. I thought it was very well officiated. I thought they allowed what they allowed. They called what they called. They didn't really sway from that most of the game. Yeah, you can start nitpicking every call in the book, but for the most part, I thought the officials weren't part of the game.
The crew was very good. I thought the officials did a really nice job in this game, and the best thing you could say is what you just said, which is they were not a part of this basketball game.
Absolutely not. And by the way, something is kind of my little soapbox. We didn't have to check to see if .9 on the clock was the right amount of time on the clock, because something Salem has here that I've yet to understand why more big arenas don't have is that little device on the whistle that the moment it registers the whistle, it stops the clock. Doesn't have to be a person at the scorer's table that does it. Just my little soapbox. Let's look at final stats. We'll start for the champions, Wisconsin Whitewater, finishing the season 29-4 and national champs with 75 points. Leading the team with 22 points and 7 rebounds is KJ Evans. Second on the team, 13 points each for Cordell Young, including 3 at the end of the game that helped at least make it more difficult for Williams. And of course, Eric Bryson with 13. He had the big 3 that made it a 2-point game late after about 40 seconds of nothing on offense. 10 points for Reggie Hearn, who fouled out of the game but certainly played well against Mike Mayer. That ended up being a fascinating matchup that I'll be talking about for years to come. Cody Odegaard with 8 points, 5 points for Alex Merg, 4 for Steve Egan to round out the scoring. The team shot 14 for 27 from the floor at 51.9% in the first half. They finished 29 for 62 at 46.8%. They were 8 for 15 from beyond the arc for the game at 53.3%. And impressively, only 9 for 12 from the free throw line at 75%. For Williams finished with 73 points, 28-5 on the season. Only the second team they have lost to this season that has not been named. Amherst leading the team with 26 points and a rebound shy of a double-double. Michael Mayer with 9 rebounds. Second on the team with 17 points, Duncan Robinson. 13 points for Daniel Wohl. 7 points for Hayden Rookley. 6 points for, that is Taylor Epley. And trying to find it, 2 points each for Mike Greenman and Ryan Kilcullen. Team shot 25 for 53 from the floor, 47.2%. Surprisingly, 4 for 15 from beyond the arc at 26.7%, and 19 for 23 from the free throw line at 62.3%. Whitewater out-rebounded Williams 35-31. Whitewater 17 assists to 10 turnovers. Williams 10 assists to 9 turnovers. By the way, quickly, the stat that jumps out at me, Bob, points in the paint. Surprisingly even.
It was, and I guess when you really look at that, you've got Michael Mayer on one end, just a dominant force. On the other end, Whitewater counters, of course, with KJ Evans, who's a 6'3" post player, kind of a swing player, as well as Reggie Hearn. So yeah, points in the paint even. Thing that jumps out at me is that Whitewater shot the ball 9 more times from the field, 62 field goal attempts to Williams' 53 field goal attempts. It's due in part because Whitewater out-rebounded Williams by 4. Whitewater also only turned it over 10 times, so Williams won better, only 9 times. Pretty clean game. But that number stands out. The Whitewater got 9 more shots off.
Oh, absolutely, and especially against that 2-3 zone. I think that is a big factor. Your final thoughts on this? I mean, this was, we came into the weekend thinking all 3 games would be a coin flip. What Williams did to Amherst last night had everybody talking leading up to this game, certainly afterward. The game between Whitewater and Illinois Wesleyan was epic. You got to feel, if you're a Titans fan, a little bit better. It means you would have at least been in this game against Williams. If you're an Amherst fan, you're probably feeling a little bit more dejected that, you probably would have loved to have had a chance to go mano-a-mano with Warhawks as well. But your thoughts on what it turned out to be a really good weekend of basketball?
I would say this, and the scores don't all perfectly reflect what I'm about to say, but I believe that the 4 teams that were here were extremely even. Like because the shellacking last night of Amherst by Williams, we have evidence that suggests that was an anomaly, right? That those 2 teams are very even, and what Williams did was an anomaly. You look at the Illinois Wesleyan-Whitewater game, that was a tight game. I mean, Wesleyan didn't play great. You could see that in another setting that Illinois Wesleyan might win that game on a neutral court. I think all 4 teams that were here, extremely even, and it just came down to who played better, and Williams and Whitewater played the best, and at the end, Whitewater made literally 1 more play.
That's right, literally 1 more play as they were able to get Cordell Young's shot to fall. And how about the fact he actually tried to miss the free throw on purpose?
Yeah.
Makes it, and Coach Miller's probably going, oh, okay. Not how I drew this up.
Yeah, because at that point, if you miss it, the game is basically over, right?
Yeah, because by the time the rebound falls in your hands, you're taking maybe a 60-foot shot versus a 35-foot shot.
And think about that. Think of how you feel at that point if you have made the free throw because you tried to miss it.
Yeah.
And if Duncan Robinson ends up making this turnaround, it wasn't the worst look ever.
No, it was on distance was almost perfect. It was just slightly left.
It was like a turnaround Christian Leitner-ish, but from much further away.
Yeah.
But if that goes in, imagine how you feel if you're Whitewater. Oh my God, it'd be sickening.
I can only imagine. But luckily, instead, the confetti falls on the Warhawks and not on the Eves. In 2014. The championship returns to Salem this year after a slight hiatus. It will be here for 4 more years, and it is certainly off to another great start as Williams falls to the Warhawks 75-73. I'm going to ask you this for Hoopsville for tomorrow, but your take on the season before we sign off.
Yeah, it's another season of parity. I mean, think of the teams that played in the national championship game were not teams that anyone would have put in this game when the bracket came out. So people might have said you could have.
You might have picked 1 or 2. I picked Williams to be here, but at
the end of the day, you would have still probably.
There's 3 other teams I could have picked there too.
You would have still had Stevens Point probably at the end of the day, and at the end of the day, you probably would have still had Amherst. In the other side, and so great acknowledgement of the parity in Division III. Where you have these runner-ups that were represented here across some of these teams in the Final Four, just how good they are, how good leagues are that are represented here, and it was a great year for teams, like Calvin that emerged, and Dickinson, and there's all St. Norbert. Teams just across the country, great level of basketball this year.
Absolutely, and of course that will wrap it up. What I find interesting was the preseason poll for this Final Four was 1, 2, 3, and 13. Whitewater being 13. Coming to tonight, it was 3, 6, 7, and 9 this weekend. 3 was Whitewater. Apparently, as much as we doubted ourselves, I think this weekend, the pollsters decided that the champion would be Whitewater out of those 4, and congratulations. The University of Wisconsin Warhawks win their 2nd title in 3 years, 4th overall, defeating the Williams Eves 75-73 thanks to an incredible effort by a number of players, but especially KJ Evans, who is the most outstanding player, and Cordell Young, who hits the shot that ends up being the deciding factor. For Pat Coleman, for Bob Quillman, and for myself, Dave McHugh, we will sign off. We have plenty more coverage from this tournament and, of course, the women's side coming up on Hoopsville, 7 o'clock Eastern tomorrow night. For more information on that, go to our Twitter page at D3Hoopsville or #Hoopsville. You can also get plenty more coverage on this game and the women's Final Four at D3Hoops.com. For everybody who made this broadcast possible, including those here in the city of Salem, the Salem Civic Center, and the Old Dominion Athletic Conference. Thank you for tuning in. We had well over 400 of you tune in for the first time we've done audio for a championship game in a long time. We appreciate your support. I thank Bob Quillman and Pat Coleman for their help as well. You've been listening to the National Championship in Division III men's basketball from the Salem Civic Center here on D3Hoops.com. We'll see you back here in 2014 on November 15th. Good night, everybody, and congratulations to the Wisconsin Warhawks, champions of 2014.